Alrighty, boys. Oh, okay, I can swear again. Cool. I didn't want to. Okay. Alrighty. Well, what's up, everybody? I'm joined by Scattercat here. My name is Foozle Bamboozle. We're going to be bringing you live the playoff series semifinals in the DEMACIAN division. Of course, the other one is going to be another featured hype matchup between Bronze 5 Age and Defiant, of whom my co-caster is going to be part tonight. But we're curious to see how things turn up on the other side, and we are already into picks and bans. So let me get this on the board here. Insignia will be taking blue side here. They are the number 2 seed, and with side selection, they have selected blue. First ban is didn't come through here on my screen, but of course.
Off to a great start. Here we go.
Yeah. So yeah, Insignia does lose their first 3 bans. Yeah, so they did sub in support of much higher level than their original one, and going to be losing 3 bans here for the rest of their playoff games as a result. So I'm not sure where the Cho'Gath ban is coming from, but I don't think that was supposed to be a thing. Wonder if it's a troll ban or not. It is not.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, it fixed.
There it is. Okay.
It fixed.
Perfect. Okay. So for Noctua, new band away here in the jungle as their first ban. Got a second one coming up from these guys here. Let's see who they want to target. Gotta reset it. Yeah, it does look pretty glitchy to me. Broken.
Yeah, broken. Yeah. Interesting. Well, it's going again. I don't know.
Keeps resetting timer.
Yeah, the timer keeps resetting on this, so we might have to just reset the lobby.
Yeah.
That might be the solution if this happens.
They're gonna go. Guys are gonna go ahead and try and remake it, so we'll get you right back into picks and bans here. So, while we have a real quick second here, Scattercat, you play in this division. You're Demacia born and bred. Tell me about these 2 teams and what you're expecting here tonight.
Well, I'm expecting it's going to be a very close game. Both of them have a strong AD carry, and both of them they have at least one other position that's really strong as well on their team. For Noctua, Hyeris is a really good top laner. They also have a good jungler. Their jungler actually does a really good job of just doing a lot of movement around the map. But on Insignia, they also have a good AD carry and support combo on their team. So bot lane is definitely going to be something to keep your eyes on as the games progress tonight. I'm expecting it goes to all 3 games.
Yeah, and so keep in mind these guys are the number 2 and the number 3 seed. So Insignia came in here just edging out Noctua in placements here by 1 game. Insignia were 7-3 overall during the season, while Noctua were 6-4. Yeah, ban screens did finish. They had to remake. No, they had to remake the lobby because apparently Pro Drafts was bugging out pretty hard. So we're gonna get the new draft here on screen in a hot minute.
It looks like they're still going. Yeah, they're still going with this one. They have not stopped. It looks like it's back on track to actually working properly now. So
interesting, because they just sent a new spectate. Let me grab the old spectate.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening right now.
Well, if the old one is working, let me try and put that link in here. They're spamming the new spectate link. I think some people forgot that. It's okay. I'm so confused. Okay.
Yeah, we'll get it going on to the new one here.
So it is the new one?
Yeah, I'm just.
Did you lie to me?
I'm just having them do it because
trolling me.
There's too much.
about the viewers here?
There's too much confusion here going on. We gotta start this over.
So do they actually have
man.
one up and ready? All right, let me know if you should pull all links that they've sent up into into an internet browser so you can tell me which one's working and which one's not.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
Alrighty.
I'm trying to coordinate this working here, so.
Ooh. I think they did not give a spectate link because when I clicked on it, I had the option of readying up for the match. As much as I'd like to draft for one of the teams, I don't think that'd be
as much as you would like to. You know. Here, I'll.
I've got some
send
spicy picks planned for each player. All
There's
10 players. Okay.
Should be good now.
Whether or not Caitlin Stark wants to, she will be playing Heimerdinger. He will be playing Heimerdinger. Kind of, yeah. Yeah, we're still doing setup. Oh, they just started the bands.
Okay, all right, we're going. Here we go.
Yeah, you wanna talk us through this one, Scatter, because the stream glitched out a little bit for some reason. The link is not appearing on screen, so viewers can't track with the action.
All right, then let's give a play-by-play for this here.
Yeah.
So Insignia, they do not get their first 3 bans. They just have to let the clock run out. So no news there yet because they have the first ban. So we're just waiting for time to go down there. All right, it hits 0 seconds and seems like it paused. All right. Yeah, it paused. There is nothing happening here. Things are just broken, it seems. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, this is not just on our end. They're having these issues too. Yikes. We might have to draft in the client.
We might actually have to do that. Let's take a break here on the stream, and we'll talk to both teams to sort this out real quick.
Yeah.
Let's take a brief intermission, a brief break here.
BRB. All right, you guys, we're back. We think we have their pro draft working. Let's see. Whoa, that was super weird. Okay, gotta turn on my game, turn off the stream before I call it. I was gonna echo. Thanks, Ryan. Astute observation from the chat. Wasn't able to catch it outside of your keen eye. We are joined by also Autumn Gamer, who's going to be likely doing the play-by-play in game while I slip into more of a stream control role. But I'm already screwing that up, as for some reason this pro draft will not load. Stop.
Yeah, I'm still. It's pretty blank on my side. I see the team names. Don't know if they've started yet or not.
Yeah.
Both teams are saying it says waiting for other team.
Oh boy. Okay.
How many times before we do client draft?
So the tech support person here says at this point, if both teams are reporting the bug, let's just go to client draft because
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go explain the rules of how client draft works to both teams so that they understand. Meanwhile, you guys fill in time while I go do that.
You got it, dude.
Well, if I'm correct, it's Noctua again, right?
Noctua, yes. Noctua is going to be playing Insignia, so these guys are in the semifinals match, like we were talking about a little bit earlier. So Insignia coming in as the number 2 seed, Noctua coming in as the number 3. So these teams are very closely matched. Scatter was saying he was not surprised if this is going to be going to a game 3. So
I honestly won't be all that surprised either, and having cast Noctua twice now, actually, it's gonna be bloody, or at least they're going to try their darndest to make it bloody. They love to fight. They very much love to fight. We saw some fun drafts last time, shall we call it, between...
Yeah, were you able to cast the Noctua Insignia game during the regular season? I think it happened in the last week.
Yes, actually, I was on that. I was on for that cast.
Yeah.
If that last match was anything to go by, prepare for the team fights. At this point, they faced each other about 5 times, so you've hit that point between two teams where a small meta actually starts to develop between them.
Yeah,
so
no,
things
that's so
that
true.
normally are power picks, they start to know who can actually play what, prefers to play what, and what strategies they prefer to use. And if they're smart, they'll actually start drafting against it specifically because, well, they know they're not going to play the meta because they can't or they won't, or maybe they got a laner who's just not comfortable playing that style sometimes.
Yeah. I really like that point you make about 2 teams actually having a meta within their own games. That is so true. I remember back in the olden days when we would play really long series for some old leagues, and I remember we played a best of 5 championship, best of 5, and I think what used to be Vantage at some point. But there was actually a meta that developed during that series in which champions that normally wouldn't be high priority for like league as a whole were actually high priority in that series, and were pick banned. You had to adjust to that specific series' meta rather than like the overall meta. So that's a really good point. And maybe that's something we can talk on as this series develops.
Yeah, I actually think I remember casting one of those. I do remember distinctively casting a best of 5, and I think at some point in time, because Ansem was involved, Wukong was banned.
Yeah, likely it's a signature pick, which is not whipped out as often.
I don't know if you can call it a signature pick as so much as it's a natural pick for him, but yeah.
Signature flop, am I right, Ansem?
All right. Well, I'm back. I explained the rules of how proxy picking works to both teams, so that's what's going to end up happening now.
Nice.
Basically, for all of our viewers, how this works is that they are going to go use the client for picks and bans. If they need to pick a champion early that, say, like, whoever's turn it is doesn't have that champion purchased for themselves, then what they do is they pick literally any other champion, and they tell us and the other team what that pick is actually supposed to be. Once that process is complete, they remake the lobby, and then they pick for real what all their picks are after that's over. So it's going to look a little weird. It's going to take a little bit more time, but since Pro Draft is not working, this is kind of what we have to resort to do.
Yeah. exactly. So let me load up our client here onto the screen so we can see what's what.
Chat asking for promotion relegation, apparently, or at least just a mini tournament between the winners.
Aran says in the chat, why is this called DEMACIAN? Well, we had 4 leagues, and we decided to name them cool names. And so it's kind of a random selection.
Yeah.
Scatter, did you decide you guys would be called DEMACIAN, or was that just like we just
Well-
randomly
well-
assigned those?
Well, you specifically requested that your division got Shurima.
Yeah, because Shurima rules. Isn't that the
So
the coolest name?
So that was the only thing set in stone, and I just picked the other 3 randomly for each division
Yeah.
and just gave them whatever they got. Like I literally like I picked at random out of a hat when I assigned them. So
Yeah, Shurima rules, no pun intended. It just does, because Azir is very, very cool. I can't think of any other Shurima champions. I don't know my lore very well.
Technically, Sivir.
Really?
Yeah, technically, I think Sivir, Rammus, Susan, Zareth.
Yeah,
yeah, they're all
literally-
Shuriman.
Literally read like half of a word of lore in my life, so I don't know any of that stuff. I just know Azir is
Yeah.
awesome.
I mean, I don't
always
know
felt the
that
only
much
thing I'm
about the
good at in
lore.
League.
Alrighty, guys, we're into pick bands. Scatter, Autumn, take it away.
Woo! Okay, so we're getting it going here with the bands. I'm expecting. I mean, obviously the first 3 bands for Insignia they don't get, so we just have to wait for time to run out. But if we can judge any of that first draft link lobby that messed up, I'm expecting one of the first 3 bands from Noctua to be a Pike ban.
Yeah.
If that sticks, and Nunu Willant ban as well. Like one of them is like I think those were supposed to be legit when they did it earlier while it was messing up.
Yeah, I do remember seeing the Nunu. I don't. Yeah, like I said, I couldn't tell which was mistake ban and which was not. So
Yeah, it was just being really messy, and hopefully those problems will be solved before we get to our second game tonight. But for now, this is just what we have to do. We'll check back in on it. We'll do some between games during the break. We'll have to load up our own lobby just to see if it works or not before we tell them what they're supposed to do.
So first ban, Noctua decides to take away the Vayne. That is definitely a Caitlyn Stark pick, one of his better ADCs, and so that's something likely you guys would have banned against them on Defiant, but not really surprised to see that taken away. And there, you like you said, there's the Pike.
Yeah. I mean, Pike's just good, you know, like he's a good support. He can really do some nice plays to mess up a team. I don't know if he's still viable in mid. Fuzel, you would be more knowledgeable about that, but I know he was viable in mid for a little while.
He was. No, the changes that they made to his ability to wave clear kind of tanked him, and now really he has no control over the lane before he starts roaming, getting reset. So it's really, really easy to punish him early now. So he's pretty much gutted in solo lanes, reduced to support only.
Got it. Perfect. All right. Thank you for the information.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Aron in the chat with another question. Did they just ban no one? Yeah. So blue side, Insignia does lose their first 3 bans due to a substitution they made earlier on in the season. So they are going to be losing all 3 of their bans for the remainder of their playoff matches until next season. So don't be surprised to see no bans there each of these games this series.
Yep. And yeah, so like I guess the Nunu, Willump, and the Pike bans were actually legitimate from earlier. Volibear. Interesting first pick. They're apparently really valuing the Volibear for their side.
Yeah. Do you have any idea whether that's going to be top or jungle? I think it probably is jungle. I see that Lightning does play a little bit of Volibear. I don't know if they'd flex that or not, but likely to be jungle if they're picking it up right off the bat.
Yeah, that's my guess. I mean, unless they've been practicing something with diving using Volley, but I mean, diving it has like 3 or 4 other champions he's really good with. So I would expect one of those to come through. I do like the Ezreal Morgana picks on the side of Noctua. Ezreal is probably my favorite AD carry to play, so I'm really happy whenever I see anybody play Ezreal. But I also like Morgana as a flex pick because you don't know if Morgana's going mid or if Morgana's going support. They could still put her in either one of those positions based on what Insignia picks here for their next couple of picks.
Yeah. I expected to go to Flaccid Bunny just straight off of his comfort level with that champion, one of his most played supports. And Ezreal, Perseverance is a good AD carry. I'm sure he'll be able to handle that, but an overall safe draft so far from these guys.
Yeah, it's a pretty safe draft, which is, you know, when you know they have a Volibear, it's okay to play safe and a little scared of the volley bear. You know, he just runs at you real hard, and it's a little frightening.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, drafting this Ezreal Morgana smart. They both have tools to escape the rumbling of the Volibear. But let's talk a little bit about this Twisted Fate Sivir and Elise picks coming out before second bans go through. Anything that stands out to you among these three we haven't talked about yet?
So Twisted Fate is actually something that we've seen come up in professional play a little bit as well recently, and it's primarily due to his ability to kind of just be there when a fight starts or start a fight himself with his yellow card or his gold card, I should say.
Yeah,
This isn't soccer. World Cup already happened, guys. Go USA.
yeah, America. I think we'll talk about the Twisted Fate builds a little bit more, but if you are not aware, it's been popular for a couple weeks to a month. There's a new AD Twisted Fate build going around, but now it's probably not the time, as we will figure out what he's going to be doing with that build later on. But Sivir locked in, and then Elise is the answer for the jungle. So we have Elise versus Volibear, the matchup there, and Mordekaiser, the first band in second phase.
Yeah, and Mordekaiser he's a strong top lane champ right now. You know, it could just be Noctua hasn't played many games against Mordekaiser, so they're not as familiar with that matchup. It could also be that whatever champion they're planning on picking top is weak against Mordekaiser, like Mordekaiser just stomps them in lane. So, you know, either one of those concerns would be very valid to take him off of the table.
Yeah, even in mid, I'm not only just top, but even in mid, he's S+ tier, and something I think I was watching, I think it was Pro Guides, they put out a YouTube video saying as of a couple of days ago, Mordekaiser had something like a 62% ban rate and at all elos. So he's just nuts. If you know how to play him, you can put him top or mid and be a big threat. But Nico locked in right off the bat here for Noctua.
I wouldn't mind seeing Nico go top, but that's probably a Nico mid Morgana support. That's probably what they're doing with that.
Yeah, likely. And yeah, but this is kind of it's a three-way flex, and you still technically easily could not know where any of these champions are going, because you want to say Nico mid, Morgana support, but then if you throw the Nico in the top, the Morgana still go mid. So a lot of ambiguity in their draft, which is a good thing, as they do have counterpick.
Yeah, you can even throw the Nico into the bottom lane too and do it a good old mage bot.
Yeah,
we're very much not dead.
We're getting some messages. The Aatrox is supposed to be Ahri. That's their first proxy pick so far in the draft from either side.
Yeah. Okay.
So there we go. So that's definitely an Ahri mid. She doesn't really go anywhere else. And that's definitely an Urgot top because he doesn't really go anywhere else. So we know exactly what Insignia's team comp is. We know exactly where everybody's going, but it's still a huge question mark for Noctua. And I really like this intelligent pick ban strategy from them, because just having the flexibility and keeping the other team questioning what's actually going on gives them actually a lot more power, especially because they have final pick. They're on red side.
Yeah. Time's running out. He hasn't picked a champion yet.
Drops there it is.
Talon. We'll see if that's actually who it's supposed to be. It was a very late lock. But to your point, though, I do think Insignia picked some good solo laners. I mean, Ahri can be blinded into just about anybody, as can Urgot. Both just strong picks in and of themselves. So they dealt with the flex issue pretty well, I think. So we'll see how it goes. So looks like Kennen is
yep.
Kennen is who the Talon is supposed to be.
I was just about to alert you to that. Yeah. So their final pick was a Kennen instead of a Talon. I would assume that's a top lane Kennen, then mid lane Nico, support Morgana at that point.
Yeah, the Nico really is not going to go support. The Kennen is definitely not going to go support, and likely not mid. Kennen's much weaker in the mid lane and really has only been relevant over the last several years as a top laner. So I think we do have the draft settled out, but we can only be sure when we see them loading into the champ select for the second time, because we actually have to get the champs in the right spots and whatnot. So,
yep. Again, we're really sorry about the proxy picks, everybody who's watching this. It is just an unfortunate consequence of the Pro Draft tool not working right now. But we will get this game going very, very shortly and finally get to see some action here.
Yeah. You should be sorry, Scatter. It was your fault, to be honest. So.
I mean, everything's always my fault. Yeah. That's what I get. That's what I get for being the community manager of this league. You know, everything's always my fault, and I just have to live with myself. You know.
Yeah. Tough life. Yes, I did see our ADC, but seeing as how you're not in this game, we can immediately eliminate that option.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would have been kind of excited to see the Twisted Fate 80 carry. I would have been a
Yeah.
little pumped for that, but like, we're just not going to get that right now. Maybe
Yeah.
later. Maybe I can hold out hope for later, but
Yeah,
not right now.
or practice that for your Bronze 5H series. Shh.
Ooh,
Yeah, I don't
don't
think
tell
we'll
them.
be seeing that level of mage 80 carry. Although, I guess technically with some of the builds, Talon or not Talon, Twisted Fate can be a actual 80 carry.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I've seen some builds.
It's a lot trickier because not only are you earning a lot less experience, you're also much more exposed. Your lack of escape is much more exposed in the bot lane. So I feel like teams could very, very easily punish a Twisted Fate bot where they wouldn't be able to mid. So I doubt that would be anywhere near as viable in the bot lane.
I don't know why the Bard just got banned. That was weird.
Yeah, at this
banning
point,
nothing
I mean,
to,
at this
make it
point,
faster.
everybody knows what everybody's playing, so you can just kind of throw some troll bans out. Got to be mindful of, we got to watch and see if they're trying to spell something. It's always a fun game that people like to play. Maybe some more appropriate than others, but we'll see how it goes.
So just thinking about the team comps that both teams have here, I definitely like how Noctua handled the draft phase. I definitely like how they toyed around a little bit with flexing a couple of champions around and just like, we might not have even decided where they're going yet.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I like the draft that Insignia has.
Yeah.
I like all the champions that they went with. I like how all of their champions are going to work together.
Yeah. Honestly, I forget a few of the picks, so I'm curious. We do have a 3-minute spectator delay after the draft, so as we don't have a pro drafts link in the internet to reference while we're watching the draft play out, we'll kind of have to wait to see what the comps are locked in before we make assessments. But yeah, I do agree. Having Urgot and Ari in the solo lanes were decent solo lane picks into or blind into where they didn't know the other team was going to be flexing. So, Blue Angels in the chat, what's happening? I'm missing something. Yeah, we're doing. Proxy picking is basically we know that everybody doesn't own every champion, so sometimes you'll want to pick something for yourself and somebody else has to pick it for you and they don't have it. So we're restarting draft, so in about 30 seconds to a minute all will be made clear. So it is the Kennen top, it looks like, to match the Urgot.
Decent pick into it, at least earlier on, especially with some of the changes Urgot's had. He's not as oppressive, so...
Yeah, but at the same time, even if Urgot is down 40 CS, as long as Urgot doesn't die, he's still going to be okay.
Yeah.
I mean, even if he does die, because his ult is still very much an execute, so he still has other team members that can help by whittling a target down, and then he can just remove a tank from a quarter HP or remove a critical target. Doesn't look like we're seeing very much tankiness so far anyway. Between a Kennen, an Elise, and a Nico, most of those will die in about a second to 2 seconds, depending on your damage.
Yeah, it's very true. They have a distinct lack of tank on Noctua's side. I mean, they still have to pick Ezreal and Morgana, lock them in, but they're basically going for CC and also being able to disengage from fights as their main ways of dealing with all the damage from Insignia, rather than just tanking it.
Yeah, and you'll notice the AoE comps. Like, look at the Kennen slicing Maelstrom as well as the Nico Pop Blossom. That is some crazy AoE. And if either of those are able to land their stunts on quite a few people, the other can actually follow up with his or her AoE ult and do a ton of damage there. So very good potential.
Ult is pretty nasty actually when it goes off. In between a Pop Blossom going down and Kennen going everywhere and lots of stuns, they can quite easily. Like Morgana does at minimum 600 damage with her ult. It's pretty terrifying, actually.
Yeah. So you're really looking at one of these two, either the Nico or one of these three, I guess, including the Morgana, as we see a Kiana hover troll. But
just trolling it out there.
Yeah, but as we see one of these three get a big AoE ultimate, if we're able to see that, then likely the other two will pile on, and it could just be a snowball team fight, easily won by Insignia. But they do have to get there. They do have to see Noctua grouping up, which likely Noctua, that'll be their game plan, is to not ever group up and allow them that opportunity.
Now, it is in fact Twisted Fate support, so that does. It's interesting because it
did not catch that.
Yeah,
does give
it's weird.
Insignia the ability to initiate a pick from pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, gold card is a thing. He also is still holding teleport, but I'm going to assume that that's not going to be a thing, and we're just being trolled by the spectator.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can understand the Twisted Fate as it pertains to the Ezreal. It's one of the very, very few hard CCs in the game that can actually lock Ezreal down. A lot of the other hard CCs you can buffer or something, but TF and Ezreal is great, but you do have a Morgana sitting there. So with no CC from the Sivir, Morgana is literally just looking for that black shield for the TF card. So it's going to be tricky for him to get his only form of engage and stun in there with the black shield available.
Not to mention he's also the prime target in this lane because Sivir can kind of just ignore Morgana's Q if she times her spell shield correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Which does set up a mind game because spell shield will trigger on the tormented shadow. It will happen, but if it's in between procs and then you throw the Q, she can use her spell shield to absorb the Q instead of the shadow, and well, she's not a target. Twisted Fate, on the other hand, nothing but target.
Mm-hmm.
He is not very mobile, not very fast either, even with boots. So he can get just trained down by the Morgana, rooted for 2.5 years or whatever that timer actually is, and he'll probably die from that alone.
Yeah, I mean, one other bonus, having Twisted Fate as the support along with the Sivir is that they have wave clear and poke for days.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
Yep. That is a benefit. It's very certainly a strong benefit. They also have the ability to kind of just say no to any Elise yanks. So again, the Elise can't really go for the Sivir because unless you're layering the CC at her, she's gonna spell shield it, and then Twisted Fate can just Q card the Sivir or the Elise and walk away, throw out his poke and just leave some trailing damage.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to hype up the Twisted Fate as like this brand new amazing pick everybody should be watching out for, because that's definitely not how I feel about it. I just feel like for them to pick Twisted Fate in a playoff game for a support role, there must be a reason they're doing it. There must be a reason why Lone Sparrows is gonna play him. Like they have to have some kind of a plan for it, otherwise they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I should note also he kept teleport, so this is a triple teleport team comp as well. They are going to be absolutely everywhere all over the map, and it's even redundant on one of the champions.
Yeah, and that is one thing that if Noctua get behind that they can rely on. They're very easily able to set up 3 lanes of farming. If they ever fall behind and lose a couple towers in the early, and they can say, well, okay, we'll send Urgot top, send Ahri bot, Sivir can wave clear in the mid lane, and they can stall games out for quite a bit because it's going to be hard for the enemy to get in there. Notice they have Ezreal, Nico, not great siegers. Obviously, if Nico and Ezreal get onto a turret, they can take it down pretty quickly. But in a 3v3, 4v4 situation, it's hard for them to get onto the turret. So Noctua does definitely have some tools to stall this out and get farm and experience on all 3 of their carries.
Yeah, and the last thing I'm going to point out before we actually get into the game here, because spectator delay is almost done, thank goodness. We can finally see them fighting each other. Ezreal did not go with teleport. Perseverance opted to go with the tried and true, old standby of heal instead of teleport, even though a lot of people are recommending AD carries like Ezreal take teleport so that you can go back once you get enough money for tier and come back to lane without missing anything. It just means that Perseverance has to be a lot more conscientious or whatever. I think that's the word I'm going for.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Perseverance has to put a lot more thought and be a lot more aware of how much gold he has when he has that gold and when he's able to back and not lose out on CS because of it and not lose lane advantage.
Alrighty. We're about to hop in the game. We get a chance to look at these keystones as they load onto the rift. Nico, of course, gluing that glacial augment. I think that's the one that we've seen the most of. You'll see
it's more so good.
Yeah, you'll see press the attack in the top lane maybe, but glacial augment sets up your team really well with a lot of damage dealers. You can get that slow and maybe lock some more people down with the Kennen and Morgana CC.
Kennen and Ezreal both went inspiration. They both want to just get that money and get it fast. Which, I mean, I can't blame them for that. I don't think that's too out of the ordinary for Kennen top lane. I think that's mainly what you're supposed to do with Kennen top lane. So, you know, we'll see. Like, if they're not able to properly utilize their auto attacks, their abilities, picking that for their keystone isn't going to help them all that much, because you need to get that poke down in order to actually like get that advantage from that keystone.
Yeah. And Kennen into melee matchups definitely is a good idea, because you know he'll be auto attacking. Whether he's going to do a whole lot of poking out an Urgot, I mean, that remains yet to be seen. But still getting that those Klepto procs off will help him out enough.
All right, mashing that fast forward button so I know I'm live, and I'm live.
Make sure I get live here. See if I want to fast. There we go.
Yeah,
So let's see if any team. Oh wow, that it looks like Insignia wants to try to set up a cheeky invade here.
Yeah, going through bot side. It's tricky on blue side. You don't have a whole lot to hide behind. But
yeah.
Noctua warding. They're watching their entrances.
They're doing their job, you know. Oh, didn't lock in the gold card in time. Ezreal is able to escape.
Yeah, there's an unfortunate just late on cycling through that gold card. Well, actually, if you're still cycling through, all of your autos will stay as normal autos. So do get the flash out of Perseverance, so they'll be pinging that and timing it and telling their bot lane, hey, Ezreal flash down, maybe come and gank, and we'll see if this matters for the next 5 minutes of this game.
Yeah, so one thing to point out here is that even though Noctua knew that all 5 members of Insignia were bot just now trying to get the Ezreal, they didn't send Kennen into blue buff to ward it.
Yeah, that's definitely that's a very good point. One thing you want to know, if you see where the entire team is, there's no reason not to get that early vision. It'll last long enough if the Volibear does a quick clear up to the top side, you'll be able to see. And there's that ward, but it is from blue side, so not sure.
Yep, there we go. Just going up to current here for me as well now. Took a little bit longer there for the spectator to walk in, but looks like I'm good to go as well. And I'll pick up the play-by-play from here, as it looks like CS is holding. I guess CS holding relatively even across the board. Pathing looks like Volibear is going from his red. Looks like quite possibly to Wolves. Yep, red to Wolves.
Oh, and this was a great ward from Diving. He placed that down earlier on before the lane started, knowing that Elise could possibly invade. So they might meet here in just a second. We'll keep an eye on that jungle matchup here in about a minute or so.
Really good poke onto Ezreal in bot lane. I mean, he just took a ton of damage.
He's actually trying here, so looks like, yeah, oh, that's very dangerous for Volibear and for the Elise. But just gonna be a little bit of anger. That was a good flash, but Elise is probably dead here. Yep, first blood goes over the Urgot, and Volibear does collect his blue buff. Buff transfer complete to the Urgot as well.
Yeah, what's really important
there is start.
Yeah, what's really important there is how quickly the top lane is roam. You saw Diving actually make it down on that Urgot pick just maybe 5 seconds before Hyaris, and that's so important in early time. So we do have a flash in bot lane.
Yep, they do go in. Ezreal very low, but overall, just not quite enough to just yet. Just not enough.
He did have to use his heal though, so he is in dire straits. He has to be extremely careful.
And that's the Boomerang Blade for the kill. 2-0 already. Insignia's trying to go hard here.
Goyner wants to make up for it in mid though. He really wants to get a kill against the Ahri, but Volibear ganks mid and stops that from happening.
Just a solid reminder that Volibear is a giant tank, and you can't kill that this early.
Both teams are really playing aggressive. Both teams really want to start strong here in this first playoff game.
Which is exactly what we expect out of them. It's exactly what they're going to go for here. Lightning picking up that Scuttle Crab as well. So Scuttle Patrol currently in favor of Insignia, especially on that bot side. That gives their bottom lane and freedom to move up there, because they can see if anything wants to go through that river at least. There is room potentially for a cheeky gank from Elise if she paths this correctly, but
Twisted Fate goes mid lane, he teleports in. But they're not going to get anything for it, so that's kind of a wasted teleport.
Yeah, I mean, not a bad roam from him, though. I mean, it's not like Caitlyn Stark was in the lane and they were losing pressure from it. But, yeah. I mean, it's more of a questioning the TP take as a whole on this as a summoner on him rather than that TP specifically. Because if you're going to use it, I mean, might as well try and get something mid while your ADC is recalling. So, not worried about it too much.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he's able to get back in lane and not really lose any experience. So it's really no big. It's no big deal from that perspective.
Yeah. Time Prodigy says that TF support is so bad this passive isn't used at all. Yeah, that's a really good point. A lot of TF's gold generation, even magnified by the Klepto he's normally taking, is based on every time you last hit a creep, you get a certain amount between 1 and 6 gold. And if you're not utilizing that, it's tough. So we're hoping to be proven wrong that this TF support is good.
That's a good binding, and that's going to be some poke down to it. I'm actually surprised because of that, though, that he didn't take Relic Shield instead for the gold generation.
Yeah. So I need to check something, because I'm surprised. Yeah, Ezreal didn't do a WQ combo when Twisted Fate was binded, and I thought that was a little odd, but I don't know. Maybe he just didn't think that it would last long enough to get the combo down.
Yeah, possibly.
That's surprising there. Mid lane pushing in. It's a lot of damage down onto the Nico and onto the Ahri. No, not much mana between either mid laners, so they're just gonna push lanes and recall. Nico up a good chunk of CS there, about 15 CS.
Yeah, and a CS lead in the top lane for the Urgot, whether he's shoving in or not, I can't tell at the moment. But that's big for the Urgot not to be harassed and bullied out of farm by the Kennen this early.
Yeah, you expect the Kennen to bully the Urgot out of getting all that CS, but it just hasn't been the case so far.
Well, the early kill for the Urgot certainly helped that, as well as the generation regen from red buff and just the damage that can potentially do. So it's really... That early game really did not favor the Kennen, as Urgot can kind of just run at him with red buff and probably kill him early on. At least though, hanging out top side, might fancy a gank here. Just busy clearing Krugs though. Urgot gets that ward in just in case.
Scatter, is that part of the Essence Reaver that the Sivir's building there? The 2 long swords going into
the...
Yes, it goes into Warhammer.
I don't know any of those items.
That's all right. That's all right. It's fine. I actually...
Ooh, good hit on the Twisted Fate. A little bit of damage from the Tormented Shadow. Twisted Fate wanting a better response, but no damage.
I wouldn't blame you for questioning that anyway, Foozle, just because... Ooh, never mind. Some more damage onto the Twisted Fate. He just keeps getting poked. I need to get my thought out here. So the Riot has actually changed the recipe for Essence Reaver a couple of times.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't blame you for asking that question anyway.
Mid lane potentially in danger here. We got a potential gank here from the control warded side brush. Ahri though playing it safe, playing to her jungler side.
Yeah, it does have both flash and ult.
Link comes out and nothing burnt.
If that snare had landed though, that was probably a dead Ahri.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had a window where they could pop her.
Yeah, that much HP with what Elise does early, yeah, that's a very, very dead Ahri. The question is a matter of who they give the kill over to.
Oh, I didn't know. That's cool. The
Sivir spell coming in for a gank. Nico
doesn't
get the kill, takes a second tower shot. That's a good, makes the right choice there. Trade. Yeah, trail right there. Yeah, if he just left Nico alone, I think she was dead from that Q.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Vortex getting a little greedy there. Tried to step in and grab that kill. Lightning trying to give it over to his mid laner, but ends up getting the 1-for-1 trade.
Yep, mid laners do roam down. No interaction, though, further from that. Cannon did manage to get the wave shoved out. Able to make up for it by having a bit of a speed boost built into his kit.
Yeah, it is going to just get rougher for Ahri as the game goes on, though, because Nico does have double the CS as Ahri, and she also has a kill where Ahri only has 2 assists. She has quite the gold lead at the moment. Actually, total gold between both champions is like 700 up on Nico, so that gap is only going to widen if this trend continues.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we got the, looks like we did the lost chapter coming in for that Nico, so that's a pretty big advantage in lane, as well as the Amp Tome. So just... overall, more damage coming from the Nico. Ahri's opted for some mana regen alongside her lost chapter. So a little more sustain as far as the ability to try and push that lane out and just keep the minions out from under your tower, which is probably what she wants here, as it looks like they're going to be poking again a bit in mid. That is a good stun. Oof. And Ahri just loses half her HP in like a single combo there.
Ezreal's health in the bot lane is super low. He either has to recall here or he has to just play it extremely careful, and he is going to recall.
Yeah.
Spell shield there, blocking the gold card as we said it would, and Morgana can honestly hold this lane on her own for a while.
Yeah, I feel like we're kind of trying to find a needle in a haystack with the bot lane here. Sivir already up 25 CS, and so while Morgana's be able to pick up a few here, it's really not going well for that lane. And Sivir with the perma shot, but here comes a TF roam.
TF roaming mid, is it going to result in anything though?
Almost does result in the kill for the Nico though, so that very seriously almost backfired.
Nico comes out ahead of that trade. It was a 2v1 and she could get a kill. Oh, never mind. Their ultimate. All is good for Insignia. They did not lose it. They did not lose it.
I had to be careful. Oh.
But that is some exceptional outplay there by Goyner there on the Nico, just making sure that he not only survives a 2v1 encounter, but comes out ahead.
Yeah, and that's going to give the signal for them to start on this dragon, and Volibear might be caught out.
Yep. Tries to go for the flip, doesn't get it. Sivir is just auto-attacking now, but when you have that's a stun down onto Sivir. Ooh, that's not where you want to be. They're gonna get out relatively healthy, but they burned a lot to do it.
Lone Sparrow's up here though.
Flash off on the Volibear, heal off on the Sivir. Nothing on the Twisted Fate at the moment.
Ooh, time ran out on the gold card.
Yeah. Ooh, Urgot. This is a potential execute here, I think.
Ooh.
Yes, it is.
That's awesome.
Goes in for it.
And all Hyears had to do was keep running. He didn't have to stop. If he had just kept moving,
would have avoided it. They're trying to kill Sivir. That's a good. That's a very, very good binding, actually. And Ari's
it's close.
Probably gonna be.
oh come on!
Yeah. She gets it. But Sivir flashes over. Autos the Elise, so probably not worth in the long run there. But they do pick up, I think, the Drake. No, they're still working on it. So
Diving's gonna get at least one more plate there in top lane as well. So.
So a death for a kill and the dragon, and you're giving up a death, but you're also giving up plates in the top lane. I don't know if it's really worth, because Urgot was pretty far down, and well, Urgot was like a threat there. Kennen was far down. He didn't get anything back from that. So your top lane's suffering. Urgot's even further ahead now. He's snowballing. Sivir is very, very snowbally right now.
Yeah, Sivir is almost 1,000 gold ahead of Ezreal right now.
And
almost 1,000.
And the other really important thing is that this Urgot is now 2-0-0. And although the Kennen does have his first item complete in the Proto Belt, that's a Black Cleaver, which is much more high value item for the Urgot. And the fact that this Kennen is ranged and has potential for early harass, that period is all but gone now. And so Urgot's just going to start taking over in the team fights in the lane. So it's kind of he's gotten where he wants to be. So definitely big and scary Urgot.
I mean, you expect the matchup with Urgot and Kennen. You expect the matchup with Urgot and Kennen to be the exact opposite of what it is right now. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
If both players are of equal skill with both champions, that's what you expect. But this Urgot, Diving has done such an amazing job of not only keeping up with CS, but actually doing better than Kennen on the CS. And now he's positioned himself to already at the 13-minute mark of this game to be a super high-value asset for the team in any team fight that pops up from now on.
Yep. He also did make much better use of the help he did get as well. They were able to, so not just just the skill. I'm not going to detract from the skill of his skill in piloting the Urgot, but also his just better use. And obviously, like right now, we're kind of just waiting for people to try killing each other again. So we're going to be talking a lot about this, a lot about how their state of the game, which right now has kind of been relatively calm. This is probably going to be a dead Kennen here. Oh, but he does flash out, so or he manages to escape with his item use there. Doesn't have his flash yet, so that's actually very dangerous for Kennen. He doesn't want to be here, and if he takes another couple of hits, he kind of got to back off here.
Yeah, and another thing I know I'm going to keep pointing out stuff in the bot lane because I'm an AD carry main. It's what I get. But Ezreal's been building parts for 2 different items. So it's going to take him longer to get his first item than Sivir, who's just focusing on one. And she already does have her first item before Ezreal, not just because of her gold lead, but because Ezreal is splitting his focus between 2 of them.
And not to mention that, we talked about the plates in the top lane a little bit, but you just saw Sivir knocking down, I think, a couple more there in the bot lane. We're just hitting that 14-minute mark, so plates are
Here we
relevant
go.
at this point, but
Going
find the
in.
top
That's
lane.
the cannon ult burn to try to escape, and looks like he so far survives for now, but he's very low HP. Urgot might consider a dive here.
Oh, he wanted it.
Very close. Yeah, if he'd hit that, that would have been very, very concerning. Elise goes in, does get the stun. This will probably be a dead. Challenging smite. Nico comes in as well, and they're going to give it over the mid laner. So that is a shutdown. It is some bounty gold, and it does go onto the Nico, so it's probably the worst possible place for it.
Oh, but here they go. They want more.
In exchange for that,
Good snare.
turret bottom goes down. They disengage from it. Kennen, Nico, everyone's here. Everyone's here in response. Bit late there, I'd say, but overall, so the Nico got some gold, which is good for the Nico, but doesn't really have an effect on the map. The bot lane it's finally hit the full snowball state. That tower is gone. Ezreal does not have a great place to farm anymore, as they can just keep putting pressure here, or even use this to dive to potentially just make him irrelevant.
Yeah, but what you should do here at this point is just throw Ezreal and Morgana up in top lane. Kennen can still go bot lane, get that farm. He's got a good escape by running away really, really fast. You can just have Ezreal and Morgana just go up top and poke down at that tower. You can have them get that CS, support them up there that way.
At the same time, though, Insignia are sending their ADC top lane, so it looks like they're going to want to finish this outer turret off, and then before rotating to the mid, they might have a catch here on the Kennen.
And that's a very good stun. Kennen is, Proto Belt's flash, he's out, but that was potentially very dangerous.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, Insignia is
well.
just making the really good rotation decision by sending them top lane. A lot of people, like especially in solo queue, they would just keep pushing bot lane, or they would go in mid lane to team up with everybody else. But this is actually a really good decision on their part.
Yeah, the one thing this does offer for Noctua is the opportunity at the Dragon. It is spawning here in just a couple seconds. The Ocean is now live. So with the bot lane top, they may want to trade and grab this Dragon. In fact, they might need to, because
There are red pings going down onto it.
diving starting it off, though.
Gonna have some fun. That's a lot of damage down onto Elise, a little bit of damage on the Urgot. Oh, that's a good spell shield, but Elise is probably gonna die here to Ahri, just incidentally. That's an execute down onto Morgana. How is he still alive? How is he still alive? That's a double kill. That's Pop Blossom going down. A bit of a stun there, but Nico's also gonna die. This time to Twisted Fate.
And
Okay.
Urgot has just gone God mode here. Was able to survive through 4 members for way too long. Team came up to support, and they cleared the team fight as a 4-for-1 overall and picked up the Dragon. So all of a sudden, Insignia running away with this game.
Well, I would argue that part of his
really
success.
helps Urgot in his lane shove as well, but also a lot of damage onto that mid tower. And the Rift Herald, which is now going to hit that mid tower. Nice jump for Volibear to do Soka tower shot, so Shelly comes in at full HP. And
So
then
I would
she's
argue
gonna
that
die.
part of Urgot's success so far is because he built a drinker. He recognized, rightfully so, that up in the top lane, he has to worry about only AP damage during laning phase coming at him. Kennen, Elise, Nico, and then even going into the late game, it's still just those 3 plus Morgana. And Ezreal still does some AP damage with his kit. So building a Hex Drinker this early, if he had not done that, he would have died during that fight. He might have still gotten that kill, but he would have died for sure during that fight.
Very smart, and I think the last item is, I mean, you make a good point. I think the only itemization thing that Insignia need to be worried about is building a little bit of extra magic resistance, because that is the way for Noctua back into this game. Get in that AoE team fight like they talked about way back in the draft phase. So getting something like a Hex Drinker, maybe a QSS, maybe even a Hex Drinker on the Sivir, already building Banshee's Veil, something like that. You see Volibear already going to the Spirit Visage, but items like that I think will ensure that the one win condition for Noctua happens far less easily.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, he already finished it too. He finished the Maw. He didn't have to. He could have just stuck with Hex Drinker for a while, but he decided to finish the Maw because he recognizes just how important that's going to be to help him lead his team to a victory here.
It doesn't hurt that it also gives him just a little bit of extra combat power. This is really not a safe place for Ahri to be here if she gets stunned.
Yeah,
Does pop the blast cone, does get out. That is a lot of damage down on to Nico. She actually just dies due to incidental damage from a Sivir ricochet.
Ooh.
That's gotta hurt.
Well, I mean, Sivir does have quite a bit of crit chance now at this point, what with the Zeal and the Essence Reaver both being finished.
Running about at just over 30%, I think. Yeah, just over 37% actually. So pretty decent chance there. That's a good binding down onto Urgot, but shields pretty much eat all of it. And that's kind of really all they can do, is they can try to just dissuade them from pushing further. But it looks like Insignia is going to try to just muscle down this bot lane tower here.
It's getting to a very bad place for Noctua. They're being just pushed back into a corner here, quite literally. The fountain and their nexus is in their corner of the map. But, you know, they're down 7,000 gold currently. We're only at the 20-minute mark. It's such a huge deficit.
Yeah. I saw them looking there for a second. I think they may have wanted that fight there. And that really is the only opportunity. See this Urgot in the side lane and then try to fight 5v4, engage before he's able to get his TP off. I think that's really is one of the main win conditions for Noctua back in this game. But weren't able to quite find an engage there. And
but there might be an engage here because Twisted Fate gets exploded. The Nico is still fed. The Nico is still a strong member. But they are going to use this opportunity here to, or Insignia's going to use this opportunity to get some damage on that inhib tower there. It's already about a
Nico with Pop Blossom. She's flanking behind.
Good flank.
Man.
Good
Such a
damage
good
on
Pop Blossom.
them. Double flashes. There comes in the teleport, though. That's the Urgot, so that's something they should be very afraid of. Cannon also coming in, teleports. Everyone's here. 4v4 in the bot lane right now. Elise comes down, tries to go for the execute onto Sivir, doesn't get it, goes 1-for-1. Urgot now 1v4. It actually is almost managing to kill Nico, but does go down in the end. But that took so long to kill him.
Okay, so the pick on the Twisted Fate ended up being huge because they were able to get a flank off with the Nico and start taking one by one. Insignia not all present there for that fight, and that's just what Noctua need to start trying to claw back in this game.
2-for-1 overall, or 3-for-1 overall in the long-term trade.
Yeah.
Very good fight there. Very good dive for Elise. She's probably going to die anyway in that fight, so the fact that she was able to focus down the most vulnerable member here, the Sivir doesn't have any magic resist items yet, so she's much easier to kill than pretty much anyone else on their team.
Yeah, but at the same time, she might be of the mindset that, hey, I got my spell shield. You know, I don't necessarily need it yet. Granted, I think a QSS or not a QSS. I think a Hex Drinker would still be okay for her to get, but you know, I can understand the mindset when you're that far ahead of your opponents, where you feel like you don't need it.
Yeah, definitely a mindset thing there, but also I think it's also kind of a good reminder that yes, you're ahead, but you're still vulnerable to being picked off by these stronger members of the team. Yes, the Ezreal is infinitely far behind, but Nico is most certainly not, and she will delete you given the chance. Elise is still very strong. Elise is still very durable as well because of her ability to kind of just stay out of the fight long enough to wait for an opening and to just maneuver around your peel and CC.
Yeah.
The dragon was just taken. Sorry, go ahead. All you.
No, it's okay. I was just gonna say that if you're Noctua though, you're not worried about Sivir. You're worried about Urgot. Urgot is the problem. You get rid of Urgot.
About to be a bigger problem here as they go. That's it. That is a gold card. That is going to be a very dead Elise. Cannon comes in. Excellent.
Oh, here we go.
Very good AOE. Ari goes down. Urgot goes down. That's a one team fight, or well, like. Yeah, one team fight for Insignia. So their AoE does go off. That's a forced flash as well in the back end of that.
That's exactly what Fuzel mentioned during the draft phase. You know, if Nico and Kennen can stack their ultimates on top of each other, it can turn everything around. It can just give them an automatic win in a team fight if they're able to do it.
Yeah, and you see what they can do, even though they're so far behind in items. Well, not too far behind, but you see the Nico not building the damage build. Kennen's still just on the one item. Even with this gold deficit that they do have in their solo lanes, like we noticed the Urgot's up somewhere decently close to 3k, and Nico's up, you know, close to 2. They're still able to pull off this team fight just because of that composition they have. Although I am concerned with Nico not building full. I mean that build is the point of the glacial augment, but as Insignia just gets tankier and tankier, that one-shot option with the ultimates might not be relevant as we move further on.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably won't be. It also, despite the one team fight, they still don't really have any vision inside of that Baron pit. They've got a couple of wards. They just got one in the pit, so this major objective is still very dark to them on the map. They can just drop a couple of control wards in, and it's nothing really that Noctua can do.
Yeah, both teams actually have a startling lack of vision on the map right now. It could just be a case of everything's back off a cooldown, so you're able to put some more down now, and they just haven't gotten around to it, or both teams have just done a really good job of getting rid of the other team's vision.
Kind of feels like a little bit of a mixture of both. That's a very good Morgana binding, but it's Urgot. So he takes a little bit of damage, and double Ocean Drake means he's going to come back up in just a few seconds here as far as his HP is concerned.
I'd like to see Insignia try and get into some side lanes a little bit. They have Twisted Fate. Ahri took teleport. Urgot's teleport is almost up, and he's very strong. Can't be beaten in the 1v1. The one thing that, we've said it again, the one thing that Noctua does have is their team fight. So I'd like to see Insignia try and split the map up maybe a little bit and threaten some of these outer turrets. But we'll see if they just try and go for the 5v5 here.
Yeah, I mean, they really have no reason not to split the map up. Put Urgot in any lane, put the other 4 people in the opposite lane. Just see what happens. You're up how much gold here? 6,000.
Yeah.
They're going to have to send more than one person to deal with Urgot. And if they do that, you'll beat them in the other lane. But if they choose the opposite way, where they send all 5 members onto the 4 people, that still helps Urgot just push into that tower and get another tower. Either way, they kind of come out ahead no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Pretty much there, and their team fight is kind of ult reliant as well for Noctua, so that going for 1 in particular is probably, well, I'm gonna say probably definitely will blow resources if they want to actually try to hold or get a pick onto the Urgot or onto the other team member, because either way, they have to fight. The 4 can disengage and hold their own in the team fight, or yeah, you get ulted, but Urgot gets towers, and with that exposed inhib tower in the bot lane, that could potentially be an inhib, because I doubt they can recall fast enough for an Urgot to kill it.
Okay, so we see here that they are actually moving to the side lanes. Ahri with bot, Urgot with top. They weren't getting much damage at all done to that inner middle turret. Dragon is coming up. It is a mountain here in about 30 seconds or so, so we'll see if they regroup right away for that. But seems like they were splitting there for a moment.
Volibear. Well, Volibear, Sivir, and Twisted Fate in mid lane. That's pretty good. Pretty good. You don't really want to fight that, because if you do, Volibear's going to flip you, you're going to get stunned, and Sivir's just going to crit you down. So pretty good. Pretty good, I'd say 3 to have. Although it looks like Volley's deciding he's going to go on a jungle adventure here.
And Noctua don't have any straight hard engage unless they get the flank. So you can afford to set the 3 in the bot lane as long as you ward your sides. Because they don't actually have, other than it catching a pick or getting on a surprise flank, Noctua don't really have any way of reliably engaging onto the 3 members. So I do think the split is still a good option here for Insignia. But it looks like they're going to the Dragon.
Yep, Ezreal used his ultimate, thought they were doing the Dragon, thought he vision, but
they weren't yet. It is going to go down here, because there's just no response they can have. Noctua does give that up, or elect to give that up instead of try to force it. Probably a smart choice there, although that is now a Mountain Drake on top of 2 oceans, so their siege is monstrous, despite being a relatively short-ranged comp.
Yeah, and the 2 Ocean Drakes is just another reason on top of having, you know, really good tank items on the Urgot and the Volibear. You know, you have no reason not to just split the map right now. You're any kind of extended engagement favors you.
A little bit of an awkward split here as the Volibear is sitting in middle lane with the Ahri and the TF and Sivir on the side. I imagine they'll try and rectify that here in a minute, but they're just kind of mulling back and forth between the lanes.
Yeah, they're just trying to make use of Sivir's ability to just hard shove any lane at this point in the game. Yeah. She does almost have Infinity Edge, and I think when that's finished, they're gonna feel a little more comfortable trying to fight. That's
here's a
decent bit of damage onto Twisted Fate. He does have to flash. Oh, that's very,
wow.
very close there.
Very
Some
surprised.
of that damage.
Oh, TP from
some of that
Urgot.
damage is missed.
Yeah.
Considering it, that's a lot of damage back onto him, actually.
Interesting.
So,
TP was a little too late to affect anything.
Kind of an awkward engage there. I'm very surprised Noctua didn't commit to finishing off Lone Sparrows, the Twisted Fate. I think they could have got a lot more damage on him if they had actually made the call to go in. Last time they did pick off the TF, they were able to turn that into a one fight. So kind of awkward on both sides, but I think every lane is just resetting here. Urgot going to grab his part of his third item. And we'll just get back into lanes with the Baron on the board now.
well, that's actually just gonna straight up be a Spirit Visage. So he's not dying. I think the statement has been made from the giant crab tank man. I refuse to die.
Yeah, and with Volibear having completed Locket, they got the defense on the front line that they need.
Yep. Ari also has been able to slowly catch up a bit as well, so she's actually a valid threat now for unprotected side targets. Sivir should just about have Infinity Edge with what she has right now. Actually, she does have Infinity Edge.
She does.
So, yeah, she can back at pretty much any time here. And she'll be ready to just murder whatever they really want to at that point.
Yeah, I kind of want to congratulate Noctua for stalling the game out here.
And they're starting Baron.
It's been kind of stalled for a while, but it hasn't helped them catch up in gold. They're still 7,000 down. You know, the gold difference hasn't changed, even though they've kind of stopped Insignia from taking any more objectives.
Yeah,
But
but
I had no idea that was happening. That Baron goes down very cleanly. No vision in the area to really stop that.
Yeah.
So excellent play there to realize that they couldn't stop you. And Sarah, there she goes. She gets Infinity Edge, also picks up the Vampire Scepter, or Vampiric Scepter. Urgot picks up a little bit of extra items as well. Volibear is getting even more ridiculously tanky.
Yeah, I mean, Urgot picking up that Spear Visage on top of them all, he's never gonna die.
Yeah, and as you talked about stalling, well, that just got a lot harder as soon as they locked in the Baron here. Twisted Fate Baroning up those minions in the top lane. Ari and Sivir going bot, Urgot mid. I think they have the tools to just crash these, and with a lot of magic damage dealers in the Kennen and the Nico, the wave clear against the Baron minions is not going to be as strong. Remember that physical damage is by far the better option when taking out Baron empowered minions. Magic damage does pretty little to it, so.
Yep. I'd also like to point out that well, not Sivir, but Twisted Fate actually went Lichbane Luna's Echo, so he's himself also a decent split pusher. So they actually have 3 possible split pushing champions here, or 4 possible split pushing champions.
They're
if
looking
you
for a pick.
Want to get cheeky with the Volibear? That's going to be a lot of damage down. Yeah, he's probably going to die here, so probably should have grouped up. I would have put the Urgot there instead, but. It looks like the 4, however, on the other side of the map are going to just shove these banner minions into the tower. There's not really much they can do. That route doesn't hit, and they're just going to let the cannon minion kind of do its work here.
Just siege, just stay back there by the cannon. You know, you'll eventually whittle the tower down. There's no need to dive if you don't have to.
Yeah, correct. So Noctua finally able to grab that cannon minion, but it looks like despite being 4v5,
so, yeah.
Lone Sparrows does have the Destiny available, so he could pop back in. Dragon is coming up here in another second, likely to be, yeah, it is going to be that Infernal DA.
So that is something that Noctua wants 2 of, and Insignia just has control over and probably is going to get 1 of. That first Infernal is the most impactful, so that extra 12%, which is not something I really want to see if I'm Noctua on Insignia, because nearly every champion they have can make use of it.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, it's not the best, though, on Insignia. I mean, it does boost the damage and the AP stats, which Urgot's not going to make a ton of use of, and the Volibear definitely not. So at least it's on the Ari and the Sivir, but you're more so keeping that away from Noctua.
Yes.
Crucially, turret does go down in the bot lane, so that's an open inhibitor if they want to send Urgot down there and threaten that. They still have a little bit of Baron buff left, so they're probably going to group mid and see if they can take that turret down as well.
Yeah, it's barely standing, so they should be able to get it.
It's standing. There's not enough wave clear in the world for them at the moment for that one. They're just going to try to hope that they don't go for their second inhib or try to go for that inhib on rotation. Looks like they're going to try that here. They can probably win this fight here. Volibear is sticking around to put a little bit of pressure on mid lane as well to try to pressure that inhib. And it looks like the 4-man unit is going to go up for it. So bot side inhib, it's just Morgana there to hold it. And she's actually almost dead from just incidental, ricochets.
Oh, here we go.
Inhib down, flash from the cannon, slicing nails for 3. Well, only no one goes down actually. And now everyone actually Noctua destroyed. They just got turned on and destroyed.
Yeah, that chain of
The
events.
entire top half of their map gone.
Not quite what Noctua want there. The Cannon ult only got 1 or 2, I think, and consequently the Nico ult was able to get even less than that.
Yeah, Nico didn't get anyone.
Yeah, and so they really have to snowball off each other. Oof.
Twisted Fate's down.
Good
but
pick.
That's a flip. That's probably going to be a dead Morgana. It is.
Oh, wow.
You take our support. We take yours. So it's basically just Ezreal left alone against a very, very tanky, very, very fed team. That's a flash charm that does not go anywhere, but that's almost a quarter of his remaining
Yeah, that
health.
looks like it's going to do it there.
Yeah, it is.
Ezreal just doesn't have the damage. Even if nobody on Insignia was attacking Ezreal at the end, he wasn't going to be able to finish any of them off before they all took down the Nexus. It was done.
Alrighty, GG. Game 1 goes to Insignia. They're going to go up 1-0 in the series. Awesome stuff, fellas. We're going to take a quick break. And since these guys are already 3 minutes ahead of us, they're likely getting the lobby set up. So we'll take a quick break starting right now and be back here in a few. Alrighty, guys. Looks like we're back live here. Yeah, sorry about
Woohoo.
the text. Totally forgot to swap the teams around. So yeah, Insignia did win game 1, unlike what the majority of the time said during the break. But yeah, we're back for game number 2. Any impressions from you guys, Autumn and Scatter, about what went down in game 1?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that I noticed was that I mean the game made this pretty apparent, but I just want to highlight that the comp that Noctua went with, having all these squishy champions, having 4 of them do nothing but AP damage, then Ezreal does a mix of AP and AD. That comp is not meant to be behind. Once that comp goes behind, it's almost going to lose every single time. They want that comp to break even at the very least, but they want that comp to get ahead. And since they weren't able to do either of those two things, the game was almost guaranteed to go in favor of Insignia.
Yeah, and credit to Noctua, credit to Insignia. Sorry, they did actually itemize very smartly. There is, you obviously see situations in which the Urgot will deal more damage and magic resistance is not itemized very quickly. So credit to Insignia for building what I would think is perfectly correct in that case and giving themselves the biggest chance to win those team fights, even though Noctua technically had the team fight comp.
Yeah, it was just it just became really rough and really difficult for Noctua to come back. The longer the game went on, the more difficult it became, and it just seemed like like it seems to me that if you're in that kind of a situation, obviously you still try to come back, but you should already be focusing the team and focusing yourself on well, let's just get ready for the next game. Next game is an even treat game 2.
Yeah.
Like it's still 0-0 and there hasn't been a game played. That's the only real way that you can handle that type of situation.
Yeah.
Now, another thing I will say is it's having cast Noctua a couple of times now. They do have this tendency to draft these, these no tank comps, and no tank comps, they are notorious for one very particular weakness, and that is, well, they don't have a tank. So when they do get into that behind situation, or even when they're going even, they tend to just lack the ability to actually survive an incoming engage, even against a split push comp or in that case, a hybrid comp is what they went up against.
Yeah, credit to Noctua, though. They were able to, in a couple of situations, find some good picks. They did make picks on the Twisted Fate and then turn that into some one-team fights. And then we remember the Nico and Kennen ult combo mid that actually got a couple of kills. So they worked with their composition and played to its win condition as correctly as they could. And I think they gave themselves some opportunities to make that game a lot longer and stall that out and give themselves a better chance to win. It could have been over a lot quicker if they hadn't played to what they drafted in their composition correctly. So credit to Noctua for at least recognizing their win condition and playing towards that. But when you lose your Kennen in the top lane and that CS goes down 20 or 30 in 10 minutes or under, then it's going to be really rough to come back from in that side lane. And we saw how many plates Sivir was taking in the bot lane, going up huge amounts of CS there as well. Well, guys, looks like we're in the lobby and about ready to start.
Yeah, so any kind of adjustments do we think that either team is going to make with either their picks or their bans here for game 2? I know Insignia still only gets 2 of their 5 bans, but are we expecting any bans to change? Are we expecting any picks to change? I mean, if I'm Insignia, I'm not going to change any bans because based on that first game, I would be confident enough going up against that team comp again.
Yeah, I do expect.
If I'm Noctua, I probably ban Urgot because they showed that yes, even with a technically advantageous matchup, you're going to fall down to him eventually, and he's just going to be destructive for them.
Yeah. I was going to say that I expect the Urgot to get banned first phase, most definitely second phase if it's still up. It is Diving's top played champion so far this season, and showed his mastery of it in that most recent game. I do expect them. I can't remember what besides I think they banned Vayne, Nunu, and I can't remember what the last ban was. Pyke. Okay, so I do expect the Vayne to go down. I don't think they're going to want to deal with the Nunu either. So I feel like with the flexibility in this draft not being very much from Noctua, they might have to leave that Urgot till second phase. We'll see what it's going to be.
Or
take
they
it to
do
Mordekaiser.
have first pick, so maybe Hires wants to pick Urgot for himself. That's why they haven't banned him yet.
It
Yeah.
could be a thing. I don't know if they'd also want to risk like, possibly leaving Mordekaiser up. I don't know if they know if diving plays or not. So it's probably like they do ban it away in the end. So that's going to be left where it's at. But
Yeah. At this point, you have the Nunu and the Mordekaiser, or I'm sorry, the Nunu and the Urgot still up on the table. Looking, I don't think IRS plays any Urgot from what I can see.
Okay.
Neither Soul Reaver on the Nunu. So, well, I guess he's got a few games on the Nunu. So that is going to be the last
Ooh.
ban. Urgot's still open. We'll see if Insignia are going to prioritize that first phase, or if they're just going to try and get diving a counter pick, as they do have red side this game.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with keeping the Urgot on the board. Oh, something happened.
Yep. Now
Could have been lag. It looks like Hires dropped out. It might be lag, or something might have gone on with his internet connection.
probably. I honestly would leave the like. I know Nunu is annoying and can be a potential monster if you don't check him. But the thing that Nunu has is he's also kind of weak in the early game. So of all the champions they have there between the Vayne, the Nunu, or the Mordekaiser, I honestly would just leave the Nunu up because all he can do is gank, really.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really easy to account for and really easy to control. You just got to remember that if you're going to push, you make it fast.
I think it depends on what kind of composition Noctua is trying to run. If they're going to go the same thing as last time, and they really need those ranged laners to win, then you do want to ban the Nunu, because spamming ganks at lanes that should be winning is often very frustrating for the team that's getting ganked. If you're wanting to run some like scaling picks, maybe a GP or an Azir, these are just random examples. I don't know if Noctua actually plays them. But if you're going to run a scaling comp that's expected to sit under the turret, then you could leave the Nunu up because he's not going to pressure a turret dive that much. But I would agree with the Nunu ban if they're going to run something like the Kennen and the Nico again.
And it's quite possible they want to go that route again. In theory, Kennen and Nico together is not bad, but if they're going to run those, then you can't play Elise or you can't play a squishy support. You have to play something that has some sort of durability and disengage.
Mm-hmm.
So they're kind of playing with fire a little bit there. I need them to show me something that's not just the same comp. I've seen them do this stuff before. I've seen it work, but as obviously by last game, we've also seen it horribly explode. So we need to see more from them in regards to that.
Hey, it looks like we're trying to Tetris this one back together.
Yeah.
The joys of watching lobbies try to reassemble.
I love these puzzles, though. They're fun.
Yeah. So yeah. So now that they're remaking the lobby, just so that chat knows, everybody's know all of the bans that happened that you already saw before the lobby glitched out for Hires and you had to back out of it. All of the bans that came out have to remain the same. We do have to keep that consistent.
Yeah.
Oh,
they banned my champion DC real quick. New bans.
So hopefully the ban phase goes faster this time because they have to remain the same. May as well just lock it in right away.
Yeah, no discussion needed for that. No extra thought you really got to put into it for that matter. But you do need. I guess they really are going to have to show the adjustment in their second phase then, because I think they need to do an adjustment. That comp won't survive a round 2 because Insignia knows it's weak. They know there's a spot they can attack, and they will attack it again and again and again.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully the client is not glitched for Hires and, this works out. I would hate to have it not be glitched. I would hate for it to be glitched out for him again, and, we got it out again.
Yeah, so Vayne, Nunu, and then the last one was, it's Vayne, Mordekaiser, Nunu. And I think right before Hires was ready to first pick was the DC, so expect to pick right back up there. Scatter, you were saying you expected them to take that in first round the Urgot again?
I would expect that if Urgot is left on the table, for Insignia, like why not pick him?
Yeah.
After what happened that last game, just pick it. Give it to Diving. Let Diving just run all over everybody all over again.
Yeah. I'm curious as to see what champion Hyaris will pick into that. I don't know my Urgot matchups very well, but I'm assuming Kennen would be one of the better ones. But if that didn't work out, I'm not sure what he has. We'll see. I mean, he's a good top laner. He'll make something work. So
yeah, I mean the Mordekaiser would be a good pick, but he's banned, so
yeah, no surprise. That's he's so OP.
So yeah, we keep getting all these weird glitches tonight. We're very sorry about that. All the players out there, we're hoping it goes smoothly here. Cross your fingers, knock on wood, throw salt over your shoulder, whatever you have to do.
Yeah, walk under a ladder. Okay, last no ban coming in here from Insignia. Again, a reminder they don't have access to any of their 3 starting bans, although they will get the 2 in the middle of the draft. You can see their clan tag 2 bans. So it's been kind of almost a season-long thing. But anyhow, we are going to be able to see this first pick come in for Hyaris and see what Noctua are going to prioritize for their second game draft.
Yeah, they still are.
Ooh, there we go.
Yep, they will take the Urgot, which
There we go.
that covers a good deal of their frontline needs, as well as it denies it from Diving, which is probably the biggest reason to pick that champion right now. He should not have it.
Yeah, imagine
Yeah.
if we were talking about it in draft. I'm sure the players were as well. So they had quite a bit of time after they saw those 3 bans and were like, hey, they left Urgot up. Like, what are we going to take here? And Diving, I'm sure, has mentally prepared for a counter matchup into that for the last 10 minutes or so. So we'll see. He might be pretty prepared, although they're going to lock in the Pike right away as well as the Morgana. So,
Top lane Pike?
yeah, that Pike could still be in a solo lane. Reminder, we are on 9.13, I believe. Or is it 9.14? I want to say it's 9.13, in which Pike's solo lane was actually pretty gutted. He now has absolutely no priority in the lane without ganks or being able to get off effective roams. So whether we see the Morgana mid and the Pike support, still could be a flex, and we know that...
That's an Orianna, though. That's also a Jarvan, so that's actually... so they've gone from a Wombo combo
man.
comp to
Hold on.
an even more Wombo combo comp.
Before we
Hold on.
discuss compositions, we have Aatrox is the Teemo. So, oh man, I was going to interrupt you, Dirtmaster, to talk about the Teemo pick, but turns out it's just going to be an Aatrox here, which is actually still pretty exciting. So not Pike top, unless Aatrox is going mid. Man, these flex picks Red Team is throwing at us are insane.
All right, the Yuumi ban. I don't know if Flaccid Bunny plays Yuumi for Noctua, but they banned the Yuumi. They apparently think it's worth banning.
He does not play it, so I don't know. But
I don't know.
it is OP in the right hands. At other elos, it runs it down, but regardless, we do have Pike, Morgana, and Aatrox. Likely a top mid support combo of which we don't know which of those 3 it is. But the last ban will be Draven, aimed at Perseverance. So kind of expected. It's one of his better champions and most played on the season. Got a pretty high win rate with that in solo queue. So Vayne, the last one, late ban of Caitlyn Stark.
Yeah, so between the 7 bans, 4 of them were for 80 carries.
That's pretty hard focus there, and I think that definitely removes a lot of threat to your bot lane there. Removing the Ezreal just says you're not allowed to be safe this lane phase at all, and they respond with Insignia responds with a Kaisa. So
yeah, so if they're sending the Pike mid, which I think they might as this draft plays out, the Aatrox is going top. They've got a lot of physical damage on here, so they got to have an ADC that's going to be doing a little more magic damage. So I can understand the Kaisa pick here. There's also maybe a Varus on hit to build that magic damage, but they're looking for some alternative to the physical damage team comp they've been stacking.
Yeah, and I like the Kaisa pick. I like Kaisa in general. I think she's a lot of fun, especially because you have a lot of flexibility with how you can build her. You can give her a more AP focus. You can give her a more AD focus. So if the goal of that is to go AP focus, like you said, Fuza, like, then yeah, that's definitely a good pick for them.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious, who does Pyke normally get banned against? Which of these players? I don't know if you guys know since you played in the league, but I'm trying to figure out who on this team other than their support plays Pyke, because I just think it's Lone Sparrows, in which case we would see the Morgana mid.
Yeah, Kane is Volibear, by the way, just to let you guys know.
Ah, good to know.
Okay, I was about to get excited because Kane's another very useful champion, but no, we're just going to get a big, very angry polar bear.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it worked out really well for them. Yeah, why not keep it? Why not just go with it again? Makes sense.
Yeah, definitely no reason to not keep up with that insanely potent champion.
Yeah.
All right, so we should get this lobby going here again any second.
Time Prodigy in the chat. Pyke in lane is still good. I've not seen anybody play any lane Pyke anywhere near as much as they used to. I'm curious as to if the nerf, like I thought the nerfs were pretty game breaking. So, I mean, if we see Pyke mid here, they'll have to kind of convince me otherwise. But I don't think it's anywhere near as good in lane as it used to. Much less priority. You can abuse it so much early in lane. Early push it in, keep it from roaming. But yeah, I'm curious as to what the opinions are on that champion. We've definitely seen a fall off in solo queue for sure, but we'll see. So troll bans coming out from these guys, I imagine, since they don't have to ban the stuff that they did, since everybody knows what everybody's playing.
Looks like they're just going down the list alphabetically this time. Nothing in particular being spelled.
Well, as long as Aatrox doesn't get banned accidentally,
Yeah,
I
right.
guess that's fine.
Yeah. Alrighty. So guys, if you're just joining us, game 1 went to Insignia. This is the semifinals for the DEMACIAN division. The winner of this series will await the winner of Bronze 5 Age versus Defiant, a series happening later on. I believe the 9th next week, next Tuesday. So
yep, that is indeed when we will be facing each other.
Just shy of a week. So DEMACIA is already starting to play out. But yeah, so we can confirm the Aatrox is going top, so that leaves either Pyke or Morgana for the flex. I imagine Morgana mid. But remember the Jarvan Orianna coming in here.
Yeah, and I just say that's actually a pretty potent combo there. Jarvan with anyone's really a potent combo because he can build aggressive, he can build tank. He can also just remove Aatrox or Volibear as a threat for at least a short period of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just kind of section out, like if you don't have a way to scale gaps or clear terrain, you're just going to be stuck there. Now, that is going to be looks like a Morgana into the Orianna, so Morgana mid lane.
Yeah, so the Jarvan I think will be using his Cataclysm more as of a dive tool than maybe a peel tool for the Volibear. I mean, obviously that could work in some circumstances and could be quite a little nook thrown in the team fight. But with a dive buddy like Urgot, I know that Jarvan's going to be anxious to go in. Orianna ball on top of him, or, Goiner could set up his own ultimate. But I think the dive is a little bit more threatening than maybe a front-to-back fight. We'll see how Noctua chooses to play it. But yeah, you talked about that Morgana into Orianna, and I may go over that a little bit more in detail since these are two champions. Well, I've only played one side of this matchup, but quite a lot, so I kind of know how it goes. But here's the Kaisa.
So I do like what both teams are doing with their draft. I like that you can pair the Orianna ultimate up with Jarvan, put the ball on him, have him dive with his ultimate, then throw Ori's ult too if you want. I like the idea of I like the idea of Insignia picking this Kaisa and having that flexibility. You can change it mid game if you want to. Like if the start of the game you want to go AD Kaisa, but then situations change. All right, then go AP instead. You have flexibility as the game goes on to do whatever you want with that build. But yeah, I really like what both teams are doing here. Volibear again, very good on Lightning. Diving proved that he's a very good top laner on that Urgot. But let's see how good Hyers is with Urgot. Let's see how good Diving's Aatrox is into it, because early game, I think Aatrox wins that, but I think the longer the game goes on, Urgot takes that over.
Yeah, and this is a throwback to two champions who completely dominated the top lane back around Worlds last year, and honestly, who are still pretty good. I think the Aatrox obviously has been the more top-tier pick in recent weeks, but the Urgot's still no slouch of his own in the top lane, so kind of cool to see that matchup. Well, cool for some. Pretty much everybody got sick of it last year, but interesting to see that matchup resurrected there in the top lane.
Cool for some, war flashbacks for others, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
How do you guys think this Pyke Zyra matchup goes, and how much do you think the supports or AD carries influence each other in this 2v2?
Zyra will have the more damage early on for sure. Pyke really Pyke doesn't even want to be in lane anyway, so in the long run it doesn't affect him, except for Zyra's able to have a better shove.
Yeah,
especially early on.
Pyke switches to ignite at the last second.
Yeah.
So he probably does want to. He wants to fight here, which that's probably what you want to do. You kind of want to remove Zyra. Now that lane doesn't have an effective way to remove Zyra's plants as a threat to them. So if she has a good swarm of them in, and she gets the root, or she just makes them, just pops up Tangle Thorns. Well, Tangle Thorns, or just pops her Q down. They're just gonna pop up, start dealing damage, and you kind of have to clear them. Kai'Sa can Q them, but that's really kind of random if it's going to hit them or not. It might hit minions. It might hit champion.
Yeah,
well, that's based on positioning. So you can position yourself so that most of the Q hits the plant. But on top of that, Zyra, I believe, still has the weakest HP, like the lowest amount of HP in the game for any champion. I believe that's still true.
It's between her, Yumi, and Sona, I think.
So Zyra, like Pyke takes ignite at the last second, switches from teleport to ignite, which if I was on Insignia and I made that call to do that, it would be because I want Kai'Sa and Pyke to go all in once they hit level 2. Like, hit level 2 first, go all in on Zyra, murder her, because you'll be able to do that at level 2 with the ignite. So I'm hoping that that's what we see.
That's probably what we are going to see, though. I can definitely agree with that.
Here's a situation for Noctua, though. Imagine you're the Zyra and the Tristana, and think about which one of these lanes has better push. Earlier on, despite the Relic Shield from Pyke, I think the Zyra and the Tristana actually have better push, and I could see a situation in which the Zyra Tristana just completely pushes in and keeps this Kai'Sa under turret. And not only is Kai'Sa not the best CSer under turret early on, but Pyke will actually not be able to roam as much, maybe. So I could see a situation in which Noctua have a bot lane that just shoves in, starts taking turret plates, and this Pyke is kind of shut down a little bit and doesn't have the right engage, maybe on the bot lane because of Zyra's plants. So maybe that might be the win condition for Noctua. Again, I don't play bot lane. I'm kind of theory crafting here, but I see that as a potential window in which the Tristana Zyra could actually suffocate the Kai'Sa Pyke early.
I will give Tristana Zyra the early damage for sure. Tristana did in recent patches have some buffs to her, well, specifically her E and her jump. So her ability to do more damage early, if she has pressed the attack in particular, it can actually be, quite frankly, a little disgusting what a Tristana can do early on. Which is not traditionally what you think of with her. And there's a couple other things, some runes. Like, she actually has a lot of runes she can make use of, and not even all of them are precision. Hail of Blades Tristana can proc her bomb really fast.
Psychopez with some inside information says the game is already 2 minutes in, and Pyke and Kai'Sa have already picked up 3 kills. So not sure how valid his witness is, but we'll see.
I mean,
unless he's specifically in that game, he'll have a spectator delay like us. So who knows if he's just shooting from the hip? But that would be pretty disastrous if the Pyke and the Kai'Sa were able to get ahead early.
It would be.
But we'll see. Didn't get a chance much to talk about mid lane. I'm surprised Oriana took teleport. You're much more likely going to want to take cleanse in this matchup. If you're at least if you're playing for lane. Orianna might just want to sit and farm as much as possible, but I do think that Orianna has the advantage here. You're very easily able to pop the spell shield and set up ganks. You also have just just as much damage, if not more, than the Morgana. The only thing you're prone to is getting shoved in early. But then again, Orianna's wave clear is just as good. So curious to see how that matchup plays out.
Mash that plus button so that we can all be as current as possible. Let's go. All right, so do we think Insignia is going to go for another gank? It's certain, or an early invade. It certainly looks like they're all grouped up again.
They're definitely all going in hard there, so they're going to go in through the river brush and.
Ooh, I don't think Orianna saw that.
Nope. No, she wouldn't have. So Insignia has a potential chance. That's a flash. That's a hook. Flash immediately burned. Ignite burned as well. So Flash Ignite down on Pyke. Flash burned on Zyra. So that's actually one of the times where I would rather be the Zyra pushed up in lane trying to get my plant spread around, because that hurt. That's going to delay the leash if they're going to have one at all. It looks like they might not here.
So did Morgana have her Q available to use there? She did. Did it just miss? Was Zyra able to flash away or it didn't hit her?
It looked like she was. It actually looked like she might have gotten hit with it, then Pyke queued her in. Because she should have honestly just flashed the hook and been done with it.
Well, I mean, we had a little bit of excitement, but it's all back to normal now.
Yeah,
did net a kill this time. Did net vision. So
Noctua learned from their from last game, though. They actually did get a ward in on buff for Insignia's side after that invade was made known to them.
Oh, Volibear's coming down level 2. Oh, they're going to try to capitalize. Zyra, no flash.
Solo queue. Volibear does potentially have the ability. Yeah, she's just going to die from that. Ooh, misses the hook.
Wow.
Zyra's still going to go down, though. Does go to the Volibear. That's an okay place to put it. In the end, he is just a tank. I think they probably want to put that on the Kai'Sa instead, or the Pyke.
I mean, at this point, they're just really happy to get a kill level 2, which is awesome. It's great of them to communicate the fact that Zyra was missing flash. Volibear just walks right down, picks up a pretty easy kill. So whether or not Noctua should have expected that, maybe played the jungle around the bot side, not sure, but gonna be first blood over here to Insignia.
I mean, you've seen solo queue. Nobody expects a level 2 gank, despite happening every single game.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So yeah, top lane is
they're going on to Urgot.
Yep, top lane's a pretty even affair. Mid lane is also a pretty even affair. Kai'Sa and Pyke can just zone the Tristana and the Zyra off of CS now at this point. Just keep the lane frozen.
Yep. Tristana does have to use her jump defensively, so there's a good couple seconds there where they can try it again.
Yeah, it's rough for the Zyra and the Tristana now after that opening. It's rough.
Kind of reminds me of the days when picking Tristana was basically a troll pick. This is pretty much what it looked like there. You got shoved in really hard, and everything tried to kill you. You don't have... Oh, good buffer that time. That's... he's just going to keep doing that now for the next 5-10 minutes, probably.
Yeah, this is a spot you don't want to be as the Tristana is trying to last hit early under tower, because you don't have enough damage to one-shot the creeps, but if you last hit one, it'll spread to the other. It's just, I don't remember the spell.
Like going in for another one. Does get it. She does get the jumps. Very consistent on these jumps.
Pyke's got to go for Zyra. You can't go for the Tristana. She's gonna buffer that jump every single time.
Yeah, especially into Pyke. Pyke's actually really easy to buffer into. Looks like...
Ooh, grabs a minion instead.
That is a lot of damage,
Jarvan's
though.
here.
Yep. Oh, he goes for the Kai'Sa instead,
Ooh,
so Pyke actually might be able to escape.
Oh, no. That's
Oh,
so
Tristana. Tristana, you had
yeah.
flash available. You could have kept chasing that.
Does try it. Jarvan does try to get the flag and drag over. Decides it's not worth it, and Pyke getting a little cheeky there.
Yeah.
So poor target selection did ruin that gank, but that does force them out of lane. So that gives Tristana a chance to get back up and farm, to push the lane in, and possibly start building up, or we'll build up a small CS lead in particular for her.
Yeah, unfortunate miscommunication there. Probably could have called that target a lot more easily. The Pyke did have no flash at the time, so was very susceptible to that. But about halfway through a first plate, and I think that will be that first one grabbed from Tristan and Zyra, and a nice little gold lead from them. Is 7 CS is no small deal. 5 minutes of the game either.
Yep, certainly will be. Up some items now. Not quite enough yet for the... Ooh, that's not where you want to be. That's good damage, though, down onto Pyke, but yeah. Overstay.
Gotta watch those death timers. You gotta pay attention to that.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe they were just confident, but Zyra did have her flash. She could have flashed out of that, and chose not to. Chose to keep.
Oh no, misses
that's
the buffer.
not what you want. That's real. She jumped too early. She thought. I think Perseverance thought that the stun was going to connect. That's a flash. That's a throw. That's the Urgot flash. That's a good gank.
Ooh.
Yeah, earlier on, Perseverance thought the stun was going to connect because the hitbox is a little funky at times. And then just tried to buffer that, but instead, Pyke, the smart thing there, actually saved the Q to interrupt the jump mid buffer, which is something you can do because the jump is not CC immune.
Oh, it
Good
took level
damage
6.
from the Urgot. Yeah, Urgot, well...
Fighting the bot lane as well.
Two fights going off at once. Fight disengaged in top lane. Fight looks like it's disengaged in bot lane. No, it's not. That's going to probably be a dead Kai'Sa here. Yep, that is a dead Kai'Sa.
It's a solo kill, too. Nobody got an assist on that.
So great for the Jarvan, and that's actually a pretty good place for some gold to go. Jarvan is a very scary champion when he gets ahead.
Yeah, and now without the Kai'Sa there, Tristan and Zyra might be able to walk in and look for another plate, but we got another engage here in the jungle.
Yeah, Jarvan just smacking Volibear, even with the Aftershock proc there. Volibear does take a lot of damage. A quarter of his health gone, though, from that early Jarvan. Such a scary champion to possibly face check into if you're a jungler. A Jarvan on the invade is not something you ever want to see. It looks like they're probably going to take... Yeah, they're definitely taking this blue buff. Unless Pyke says otherwise, tries to go for a stun. That's a flash out. So, no, Jarvan takes the blue buff.
Could have been dangerous for either side there, you know, both mid lanes were converging on that. So disengage was just in everybody's best interest.
Yeah, it looks like it, and Jarvan goes back to his power farm, which he's on an absolute tear through this jungle there. An extra buff as well. Puts him very far ahead for when he eventually does go to buy. And that's something that, as this comp, you really want. The lanes that you want at least stable are now stable. Bot lane stable. Top lane's top lane. It's going to happen no matter what, but your jungler being ahead is very scary for them.
So things are still okay for both sides. You know, this game is still completely wide open. It's only a 200 gold lead on the side of Insignia. Part of that is because of the plates that were able to be taken by Tristana and Zyra. Part of that is some of the CS differentials too. Like Jarvan, for instance, he's got a slight lead, but you know, it doesn't actually like that CS lead doesn't account for all that much, I guess.
Ooh, good hook on the Pyke. That's a stun Zyra. He was burned, but yeah. That's Kai'Sa going down. Pyke's gonna get ignited, so you hate to see it, but slight overstep, and Pyke says you're dead.
Yeah, that's how it's gonna happen for Zyra. That's just the risk you take when you pick a champion like that. It's just, you know, it's just something you have to deal with and work around.
So she actually has less health than the cannon minion right now, so give you an idea of where Zyra's at. She's got about as much health as a minion.
We haven't gotten to talk much about mid lane, and I know not a lot has happened there, but keep in mind, first game Goiner was up a ton of CS, maybe double the CS of Vortex in the early game in that Nico Ahri matchup, but now, as Insignia's duo takes a plate here and maybe another, now Morgana's actually boasting a 6 CS lead over the Orianna. So Vortex coming back with the strong early game 2 here in the laning phase.
And Morgana has a little bit of an easier time early on than Orianna. Orianna is definitely not the strongest super early. She's a much greater threat, though, come late. That flag and drag's already used for Jarvan, so he can't really do anything for the time being. He's just going to go and hit some camps.
That was a good jump.
Yeah, gotta watch out for this Pike Kai'Sa duo. They are level 6, both of them. Flaccid Bunny still sitting on 5, so they can't really give up anything here. Oh, but hook lands. This is trouble.
It's a good stun. Execute goes down. Doesn't quite get it, though, with the ult. Does also almost give up his life for that one. Like, ooh, good fight going on in top lane.
Yeah, Aatrox is really bullying the Urgot. He's up 27 CS there, and almost. Ooh,
that was
he's almost in a
close.
position where he can turret dive. I mean, like he has his ult. Got he's got the resurrection in his kit, so he could dive that if he wanted to, but he chose to back off and just get more CS.
Yeah, but
Yep,
now
so
this
they're gonna
gold lead.
kill a crab as well.
Now this gold lead is quite shifted. We saw it very even maybe 2 minutes ago at the most, and now all of a sudden with a couple of plates and more kills under the Kai'Sa, it's now ballooned to 2,000 gold. Even Aatrox gets in on the action and picks up a plate here. So things all of a sudden going in Insignia's favor here, both bot lane and top lane one more time. Psychopez is right. 3 kills on this bot lane in 3 minutes, or was it 10 minutes? It was 3 minutes. I forget what he said.
He said
yeah.
2 minutes.
I forget what he said. It was somewhere within the 2 to 10 range, but
They did get 1 kill at 2 minutes. He was almost right.
yeah,
Bold predictions there, right?
yeah. It's not
Let's
bold
make
if you
bold
know it's true.
predictions because you have plausible deniability. Looks like Volibear might fancy an attempt here in the mid lane. He's definitely hanging around for it. Morgana, not the easiest champion to gank for. She kind of just slow pushes the wave out herself. Ooh, oh, that's a good ult there. Volibear might have to act now because this could be a very dead Morgana. Yep, does show himself, decides to just tell Morgana the fight's over there, but that was not... Morgana's lucky that this is a teleport Orianna and not Ignite, because that was very close.
Yeah. I'd have been very surprised if an Orianna takes Ignite to a Morgana, but Goiner played that very well. Was able to back off and not completely commit to that kill and put himself in a bad spot. But big play bottom.
Down, lots of resources expended. Cataclysm goes down as well. Pike pretty much destroyed there. Orianna a little late with the teleport. So they're now 4. It's now 4 versus 1. Dragon is up, and it looks like they're gonna turn on Dragon here. There is vision for this.
Yeah, Zyra kind of wasn't able to land the ult onto 2 people, but Soul Reaver bailed him out with the Cataclysm onto both. And although Kai'Sa was able to ult out, no more dashes left for the Pike and went down. So nice orchestrated play, and although Orianna teleport wasn't quite necessary, the communication was great from them on that to pull the trigger on bot lane.
Yep. Now they will trade the Dragon for the Rift Herald that is on the Aatrox, so they could possibly be looking to. Yeah, they are. That's a flash, and so flash for flash, Volibears for Urgots. That's just more control.
Oh no, Jarvan on a ward.
Does get executed for it.
Really good
Orianna
heads
able
up
to
play
get away.
there.
Ooh. No actual threat. Kai'Sa doesn't have her ult, but good idea to avoid that and avoid getting spotted.
Rift Herald though,
in the
yeah.
top side. Yeah, it looks like they want the rest of these plates here. They could also be fancying themselves a dive. That is a lot of damage down onto it. This tower probably will go down. Yep, it does. Urgot just scuttles away.
Yep. If you use Shelly, you want to get either. Oop,
Another fight. Nice Zanyas.
That's the well, yeah.
Ooh, man.
1 for 1.
Okay, but notice the shutdown going over the Tristana. So Perseverance and Flaccid Bunny actually able to pick up the win in that fight because of how much gold the Kai'Sa was worth. And so nice little influx into his pocket with that Infinity Edge now just purchased. But find them
going on in mid lane though. Flash is forced to burn, and that good use of the Orianna ult there. I will like to point out that Kai'Sa built Stormrazor first, so that's a little bit of a throwback build when Stormrazor was ridiculous. Not so much anymore. It kind of is a fairly weak early game item compared to Infinity Edge. So I think overall, though Kai'Sa's ahead, Tristana has the much bigger spike with her inbuilt attack speed and Infinity Edge.
I have no clue on this earth what Kai'Sa builds anymore. I've literally seen her build, I think, every single item in the game. and they've
I've
been
not seen
viable at
Legion
some
yet.
point.
I'm
I've
still a
not seen-
fan. I'm still a fan of the Manamune build on Kaisa, but I mean that's just me.
Yeah, that's an interesting one that was going around for a little bit.
Yeah, I still like that build. But you know, Storm Razor is still the most consistent first item on her build. It's what the pros still use for first item on Kaisa.
Yeah, get some attack speed there. So Pyke is forced to leave, and he does take 2 autos though. And just 2 autos with Infinity Edge and the explosion, that takes a good chunk out of Pyke's health, actually.
He's not going to be worried about it too much because he gets to heal when out of combat. But yeah, you're right. This Tristana is starting to hit like a truck, and we'll see if Flaccid Bunny's able to land all his damage. They could start bursting each of these carries and give
Pyke
them
does
the...
have his hook back up. Looks like they're not going to fight just yet. They probably want to fight with the minions. They were on a ward for that as well.
Kaisa's got the damage. Pyke's got the
CC in this case.
execute. That's the other word I was looking for. You know, so like, they should just honestly just try to fight all the time. If the lane is at mid lane or push towards them, just try to fight all the time. You have advantages.
And that looks like what it was there. Pyke getting a little bit of poke there. He does heal. He does heal for quite a bit. I think that was actually also hit a couple patches back
there
as
it is.
well.
See ya.
That's
Big
just
game.
Orianna.
Yeah, they're sitting on that 1-item power spike. Once you get Ludens, and if the opponent doesn't have a strong of a damage item, you're going to be able to start looking for aggressive shockwaves. We got to dive here bot lane. Jarvan going in.
Going bot. That's a Cataclysm. Tristana takes the jump forward. Does get the kill onto the Kaisa. Pyke looking to, gets the execute though, so does inevitably go 1-for-1, but the tower is going to go down. So first tower to, looks like Insignia here.
Oh no!
Oh, you hate to see it.
Yeah, I got
You hate to see
bamboozled on
that,
that
so-
one.
Outplay and outmaneuver from Pyke
No,
there.
Insignia.
Oh,
So-
wow.
Noctua gets first tower, gets a kill, but Insignia, they go back and double kill onto a Pyke, which also, incidentally, if Kaisa helped out with either of those 2 kills, she gets the gold for because it was like ultimate executes.
Yeah, good guy Flaccid Bunny on the Zyra, taking a bunch of turret damage to help start off that dive, but ended up getting doubled back on by the Pyke and killed, and then a very nice play at the end of that fight. So what looked to be a great initial dive ended up resulting in what's soon to be a pretty fed Pyke. So.
Yeah, and correction on something you just said a little bit ago. Insignia got first tower, not Noctua.
Okay. I am a little confused as to sides at the moment, but yep, Insignia
that's
doing
okay.
Yeah.
very well.
I mean, in all fairness, we've not been talking about this top lane a whole lot just because of how much action has happened in the bot lane, but we've seen Lightning actually hover so much around diving here in this early stage, make sure he gets the Rift Herald, dropped it up top, and then hovered in that blue side jungle, actually stole away the blue, and made sure this Aatrox was actually able to push up safely and get a nice 30 CS farm lane. So diving ahead, but here's a fight in mid lane.
Ooh, the jump was a fail, so Kaisa's going to get the execute there with her Q, and that's something you hate to see there. The jump was accounted for this time by the Volibear and just yoinked her out of the sky.
I mean, I'll speak from personal experience. It's kind of hard to buffer for Volibear's grab.
Yeah, when you're trying to figure out the timings of every champion, you're gonna, Jarvan might be a little dead here.
Yep.
Whew.
Execute doesn't quite happen, so only Kaisa gets the kill gold for that one, but you'll still be happy with their jungler being removed from the map for a good few seconds here.
Yeah. Just a little bit more on that earlier point. It starts to become muscle memory on that buffer as attempt to dive there kind of thwarted. But yeah, once you're used to buffering or trying to get the timing on buffering a Pyke Q, something like a Volibear is you're gonna have to figure out a whole new time to do that. So definitely very difficult to do when you're adjusting from champion interaction to different champion interaction.
Yep, certainly, and looks like so 2 towers down though in favor of Insignia. Looks like
We're
2
seeing kind
towers
of a
also.
repeat. We're seeing kind of a repeat of last game's pattern, just like in game 1 at the 20-minute mark, or it's almost the 20-minute mark at this point. Insignia has a 6,000 gold lead.
Now the gold lead's in a
it's almost the
completely
same.
different place now. It is pretty squarely in the bot side. That is Aatrox ultimate does come down. That's a very good ult from Orianna. He does try to get away, but the execute comes down from Urgot, traded in the mid lane.
Yeah.
So 1-for-1 overall, but support for top lane split pusher there. That does allow Noctua to get some pressure back in the top lane and shove those shove those turrets down.
Yeah, so this is at least, you know, for something, it is going to give their Urgot a little bit of a relief in that lane. But looks like Insignia still want to pressure that top side. Rift Herald has already gone, so the Baron just spawning. Lone Sparrow's very active on this pike, fishing for another kill, but they're going to back off. So I like the vision here from Noctua Esports. You notice they have wards all around in pretty much every entrance in their jungle. That's exactly what you want to be doing when you're down in this kind of way. All 3 outer turrets are gone. You got to ward up that jungle and see if you can make those picks. And it looks like they're going for one right here in the top lane.
Yep, so they are going to be spotted. So the disengage is going to happen here. But, ooh, Pyke very much looking to counter that. The Super Soaker comes out and really just a little bit of poke damage, but otherwise, Control Ward there saves the day again. Vision saves lives, kids.
I wonder if that'd be a good build on Zyra mid to go that Hextech GLP, like with the Glacial Augment auto. It's a very long range. I wonder if that's, wonder if people have done that, like with Nico doing it.
I wonder if her plans proc it too.
And Ari doing that as well. I feel like that could totally be a Zyra thing in mid, but
I've done it on Lulu, so I can tell you if Lulu can do it, Zyra can definitely do it.
But can she do it well, Dirtmaster? Can she do it well?
Okay, can anyone do it well is the real question.
Baron
Now,
started,
this is
though.
a cheeky little Baron. Yeah, this is a cheeky 20-minute Baron here. Or 22-minute Baron in this case.
Is coming.
That's a good ult onto Volibear. Teleport's coming in now. That's an
Oh!
execute with the Urgot there. Cataclysm blown, though, onto it as well.
Just needs one kill for the reset.
The reset. Yep.
Gonna go down.
Jarvan wisely flashes out. Now there's a kill traded back. It is Zyra. Kaisa is still alive. Execute does fail.
Oh my god.
This is so close.
This is just a freaking bloodbath as Urgot shoots the Baron and does eventually go down. So overall victory.
Oh my goodness.
Kaisa knows. Ah!
Sniped.
There we go.
Standing vision.
Delayed Quadra. So overall victory to Noctua there.
Yeah, it could have. It was so close. It could have
Insignia.
actually.
Overall victory to Insignia.
To Insignia. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it could have been a lot closer. Unfortunately, the Urgot AoE auto attack was going for the kill in the back of the pit and slapped the Baron as well, and kind of focused on him and enabled Caitlyn Stark to finish that kill. So very close fight, and I'm sure Noctua are a little bit frustrated with it, but happy they can at least take him in the 5v5.
Yeah, definitely probably could have been better executed there. A lot of their tools were expended just going after Volley when he was probably down to begin with. Cataclysm was expended very early there. Could have been used to probably cage off a couple of his other champions instead. And that's a lot of just incidental poke damage onto an Aatrox, but he'll just heal it up with his lifesteal.
Yeah, so this is another Ocean Drag coming up here. See what they do.
Yeah, and they already have one, and just like last time, 2 Ocean Drakes means that like any kind of extended engagement favors them.
And that's going to be very quickly done. No attempt to get a steal or even a contest for that matter. Instead, they're just going to try to shove down the mid turret. So Insignia is going to come in at a very preferential angle. That's a very wide spread on the Super Soaker. That's a good ult from Zyra as well. That's just a lot of carnage. I'm seeing 2
Oh no, Pyke.
Go down. Morgana, Aatrox. It's pretty much Aatrox, Volibear, and Pyke left. The mid AD carry are gone. Mid support and top are gone for Noctua. So victory for Insignia again there in the counter engage.
But Jarvan did get all the shutdown gold on that Kaisa.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
So that's something.
Yeah.
Silver lining.
something. But again, do you want it onto your Jarvan, who at this point is probably going to be building He's building Warrior now, so it'll help him get more damage, but I'd really be going tank here.
Yeah.
Oh, he's probably gonna build tankier. Like he's I think the what's that hammer item called? I can't remember the name of it right now. Phage. Like he's got a Phage right now. I think the Phage is gonna be part of a Black Cleaver
So yeah, a little bit of a bruisery item. Not a true tank.
Yeah.
He'll survive a little bit longer than Tristana will, though.
So if he goes for a hybrid damage tank, or if he just goes tank from there on out, either way is fine. It's going to be better for the team than if he builds damage.
Yeah, Tristana is at 2 items, so Tristana as a champion traditionally and really so far does turn on at 3 items. That's kind of what she's hoping for at this point. So now Noctua is going to try for the cheeky Baron, but there's a control ward in this pit, so
yeah, it's having no teleport though. It's just going to be a 4v5 if Insignia chooses
they could
to
get
engage.
There is a way into the pit. They get the Baron, but now they have to escape with their lives. That's already 2 kills down the blue side. Tristana's got 2. Oh, there's the execute from the Urgot as well. Forward jumping again. Do they want to try for it? No, they don't. So they get 3 kills, lose their support, and get the Baron. That's a pretty good play for Noctua.
That's awesome.
That is their foot in the door to get back into this game and turn it around.
I love the Baron call from these guys. Very aggressive. They were getting beat in those last team fights. You know what? Hey, thought we could take them. They saw Aatrox spot, likely had that teleport timed, and knew they could take that, resulting in a 4v5. And unfortunately for them, Insignia trickled in 1 by 1, and very good Baron call and fight afterwards by Noctua. And yeah, Scatter, you're definitely right. That's their foot in the door to tie the series up at 1-1.
So one thing I would like to point out here, if Tristana had gone for Rapid Fire Cannon as her second item instead of the Static Shiv, that would help more in this siege now that they have Baron, but she chose to go for Static Shiv for Wave Clear instead, which at the time was a very viable option, right? Because you want to defend, you want to just clear waves. But now that might end up hurting them slightly going into the siege that they want to do.
Yeah, I mean, it is still Tristana. So she is still an absolute monster at siege, even with a slightly shorter range. But definitely agreed there on that one. Rapid Fire Cannon, it does help a little bit more for the fight. Pike's just gonna get out there or gotta stop chasing him. It's a Pike. It's like a Lulu. Once a Lulu's running, just let her go because she's gonna escape. Same deal with the Pike. Once a Pike's out, you're probably not getting him. You got to expend a lot to make that worth.
So they just want to keep grouping mid and pushing this. They really want to get mid tier 2 tower. They want to really open the map up so that they can, I would assume, swing over to top lane after this and get that top tower.
No, it looks like they're just going to keep pushing here. They think they can take the siege, and Tristana can absolutely demolish those turrets if she so pleases. Ooh, Morgana tries for the ult. Instead, she just gets deleted by Tristana, though. So that's going to allow the siege to continue even further with pretty much impunity. Pike does get a hook, doesn't matter. DEMACIAN is shouted. That is the Cataclysm down. He's gonna get executed for his troubles there, and
yeah, they might start paying for this. They got to get that inhibitor and leave.
Yeah,
they do get the inhib. There is a potential kill here down. Urgot's gonna be able to flash out. And nope, that's the end of the ult for the Aatrox, actually, and that's a very dangerous place to be. He's probably gonna die here. Yes, he is. That is a reset onto Tristana.
Oh man,
she actually jumps forward.
Bunny's plants are doing so much work in this fight. I don't know if you guys saw, but 3 plants being erected at the entrance there and just absolutely spewing whatever Zyra stuff is on everybody. I know that zoned out the...
Pretty sure it's a poison, but at the same time, at that point, it may as well be... it may as well be pure death there, because that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah. Very well played. Got the inhibitor and got out.
So Baron buff is still around, not for much longer. It is running out. So at this point, I mean, like, I think the right call now, ignore Dragon Pit, ignore bot lane, ignore mid lane, go top, get that other tower while you still have the buff.
It's free gold.
Just get that extra global gold for you, you know?
Ooh, Soul Reaver looking for the steal. Not gonna get it.
Not gonna get it. They do just elect to try and contest the dragon this time. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but it is still getting a Mountain Drake onto a Kaisa and an Aatrox, so that is a little bit of... well, not a little bit, that is a lot of extra damage onto objectives, so if they do leave an objective alone for long enough, then there is the very real possibility that Insignia can come in and remove it.
Yeah, but with the dragon gone here, I think they're going to do what Scatter suggested, an all-star move in top to grab this gold, or maybe they want another fight.
They probably sense a fight. That is some marker down onto Zyra, so very dangerous place if you're a plant sorceress there. You don't want to be the target of a Kaisa ultimate.
And Aatrox does have TP, so he could always join the fight if one does start.
Okay. Little bit of poke going down. There's the glacial augment. So a lot of stuff, or some stuff burned to just try to slow them down here. But they're just gonna try to push in with this wave and pressure these Nexus turrets. They might be considering. Nope. There we go. Aatrox is gonna back off.
Yeah,
Urgot used his ultimate.
Yeah, not sure I like this from Noctua. They're kind of getting baited into running it down mid with the Aatrox on the sideline. I would much rather have them go top, but now they're not going to get anything there. The inhibitor's already down. I'm not sure why they're there, and it's going to be a turret traded from the Aatrox, and I think that was an advantageous situation for Noctua, and I feel like they could have made a little bit more of it. But
Yep, they did get a turret in the top lane, but no one was there, so it's no local gold. Ooh, that's a good route. But Morgana's going to be able to disengage anyway. No one there to follow up on that one.
All right, so they're pushing for this tier 2 tower. They could get a lot of damage up.
Well, they could very well delete it, knowing how Tristana works. But nope, they're going to threaten with a dive. That is about halfway gone there.
yeah, now diving tipping in. Urgot went down bot lane, so this will be a 5v4 if they're able to start off the fight. Urgot running up there frantically to try and get with this team. Looks like
that is a very far teleport though, and they did have vision of it. So.
Noctua just gonna get out here. Got overly excited. Doesn't turn out too much here.
Teleport advantage onto Noctua, but it is on the Orianna rather than the Urgot, so it's not exactly the champion you want split pushing alone.
It's so tense right now. Like both teams were just doing this weird little dance on a knife's edge there. But now they both back off. They're going to reset. Insignia does have super minions pushing into the base, so they do have to focus on that for a little bit here, take care of that.
I would not be surprised if Noctua just starts it off right here. Don't know if they see everybody in base from Insignia, but they could just go right on the Baron. I mean, they made a very aggressive call last time, so I expect them to
They know that
be
3 of them are
decisive
there,
again.
so...
There is absolutely no vision for Insignia in the Baron pit.
Yeah, but then again, Noctua don't have much vision in the enemy jungle. It's getting all cleared out, so they can't really tell where the enemy is, and so that makes the Baron start much riskier.
Well, they did have a chance there. I think if they'd gone on it about 10 seconds earlier, they definitely could have, but they elect to play the safe game there. And the Baron now, there is a ward in the pit, but it is currently covered by control ward, so as long as they can just keep Insignia off their control ward, they can keep that pit in total darkness.
Yeah. Noctua needs to make sure their waves are in order here first. Got to get that mid wave and top wave out, because if you aren't tending to your waves, then you're going to have to leave the Baron area to go pick them up, which means that Insignia could then just swoop in and clear the vision. So you always want to have your waves pushed out when you go in to set up vision, because that way you can afford to stay on the pit and defend the vision you just set up.
All right, ready to hit respawn. So no more super minions now.
Pushing
Tristana
in.
Is at it's actually at 3 items, so she's ready to fight. Kaisa also Kaisa's at 4 items.
It just seemed like they weren't all on the same page there. Tristana was going for Baron pit while everybody else was pushing mid. I don't know if they're having trouble deciding what to do.
I think they were trying to rotate off of the mid push to the Baron, but maybe that wasn't communicated with everybody.
Urgot again just throws his ultimate out without even a team fight happening.
Yeah, I think he was trying to get a pick with it. The slow actually is significant that you get with the Urgot ultimate, so even if it's not meant to be an execute, you can actually slow somebody down enough that you might be able to get a pick, but just hasn't worked the last couple of times.
Ooh, Jarvan behind enemy lines there does have a way out. That's a very good ultimate from Zyra. That's a lot of damage going down. That's Guardian Angel burned.
Man,
Tristana,
nobody's dead yet.
Dangerous spot, does take the jump, ooh, very close to the pike, but no execute is to be had. Tristana is ignited. They are trading 1 for 1. Kaisa now getting a double kill though. 1 for 1, now 1 for 2.
Ooh. This could be the end of the game if nobody else from dies.
Yeah, what a scattered fight.
3.
Holy cow. Yeah, 4 people down, and I think they're just going to go down mid and end it. They have the wave that's near there, and I think this should do it. Man, what a scattered fight there. I really had trouble tracking which parts of that fight were important, but looks like Insignia thrived with that kind of fight, and unfortunately at the very bitter end, Noctua not able to coordinate in those team fights. Insignia gonna march right in. They got 2 Nexus turrets to burn through. Can Tristana make an impact here?
I mean, she can certainly remove most of the minions, and that does do a lot of damage onto the Pike, but that does expose the Nexus. She's going to try for the execute there onto Aatrox, but nope, going to get shut down.
Just a few
Nexus
too many
die.
health bars to cut through. That's going to do it, guys. Insignia will take this series 2-0. Noctua gave them a run for their money in that second game. Some great team fights and very exciting to watch. And honestly, during that mid to late game, I thought we could see the series tied up at 1-1, but very good games and great poise from Insignia to come back and take that last fight in, which was a very scattered fight. The communication had to be very, very effective there to make sure they were focusing the right targets. So nice job from Insignia. They're going to take that second game, go up 2-0, and move on to the DEMACIAN finals, guys, where they will meet who, Scattercat?
Well, they're going to meet the winners between Bronze 5 Age and Defiant, and that series will be played next week, Tuesday, currently scheduled for 9 Eastern start time.
Yeah. I was expecting you to say, well, they're going to be playing Defiant, but, you know, our chat
I'll be diplomatic. I'll be diplomatic about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and we were talking about Noctua's ability to team fight in that last game. They picked a much better or much easier to execute comp. We see the damage numbers actually pretty high. Tristana, Zyra, Bunny getting his damage there, but the Kai'Sa too much overall as far as the carries goes. And in a split fight where she's extremely mobile, definitely favored her there and was able to put out 25k in 34 minutes. So
yeah, I think the big thing on that last team fight, though, it wasn't just how it was split, because even Tristana in a split team fight is still scary. It's what they split. They cordoned off Tristana and Jarvan to chasing one target, which they got, but they pulled them away from their primary objective, and now your damage is gone, your peel and your tank is really gone. You're left with really, an Orianna and an Urgot and a Zyra trying to make up for the massive amount of damage that was there from the Tristana and the survivability that a Jarvan can bring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and honestly, Noctua hung tough both of these games. Compositions aside, they actually made some very decisive calls. I do remember in the first game we had a couple of nice flanks and they were very in charge when it came to team fights, and so I really like the communication from Noctua. It's very hard to keep that up when you have fallen behind early. So props to them for deciding what kind of plays they wanted to make and playing to their win conditions both games. So I could easily have seen situations in which they won both of these games and very, very well kept their composure, despite going down early, especially in top and bot lane. So nice job from those guys. Gonna get an interviewee. Looks like here from Insignia, hoping to get Vortex up in here. Looks like he's gonna hop in and tell us a little bit about those games. So
yeah, so let's all head over there. We'll give him a chat.
alrighty, Vortex, what's going on?
Hello.
Congrats on the 2-0, guys.
Thank you. Feels good, you know?
Yeah. So you guys had a tough team fight composition here in the first game. The Urgot got ahead very early, and then it looks like they swiped in game 2. Was your priority that high on Urgot in game 1, or did you have any idea that they would take that in game 2? It looks like that, because that was a very contested pick this series.
Basically, our top laner, he plays Urgot a lot, so when he gets a chance, most likely, if it's not banned, that's what he's going to play, just because he can carry really hard on Urgot, so that's the pick we look for in him. And as for the team fight comp in game 1, it wasn't really the greatest, with like having Ari in the mid lane, and I forgot who we had in bot lane, but it wasn't the most effective team fight comp, but we was able to execute enough to win,
Yeah. And you guys got such big leads in the early game that even though they executed on their composition, it seemed like you guys were just able to split the fight as much as you needed to and take those wins. So second game now, that last fight that you guys have, that really decided the whole thing. And it seemed like more of an NA Fiesta than any of those fights. But y'all came on top. Tell me what were the communications like in that fight? Because that had to have been so important.
Okay, so basically, we had super minions pushing in the mid lane, so we was just like, okay, we got to keep these waves clear, and we had no vision on Baron, so I was like, okay, guys, I'm gonna go pink Baron, and Volibear came in with me because we didn't plan on fighting. That wasn't our goal when we went in there, but I think Jarvan got caught out, I believe, so I panic ulted, so he just walked out of it. And then we had our Aatrox come in from the side, and then our Kai'Sa was almost untouched until for like the last part, and he was just like, "Yo, I'm being dove on." I'm just like, "Wait, what?" It was a lot of confusion, but we was able to keep our carry alive for the
Yeah.
most part of the fight, and was able to do his job and carry the team fight towards the end.
Yeah. That was a crazy fight, and bot lane saw a lot of action there in the early game. Having a Pyke and Kai'Sa consistently all in was kind of crazy
Yeah.
to watch. Were you intending on playing the Morgana the whole time, or was there a chance you were going to flex that in game 2?
Game two, let's see. Okay, I wanted the Morgana game one, but it ended up getting picked away.
Yeah.
So I was like, I believe Nico was picked first, and then I picked the Ari into her, which didn't really go so well. So I was like, okay, let's give me the Morgana.
Yeah.
So I'm able to help my team with the active items. So it's a Glacial Augment build. It's a lot easier with the Twin Shadows. It gets slow, so I can either engage if I want to,
Yeah.
or if we get dove on, I can disengage. Same with the GLP. So it's a lot easier for me to help my team with my ult, my binding, with my wave clear, and I'm also able to shield the Aatrox or the Kai'Sa when they dive into the teams. So basically, my role in that game was to enable my team to do what they were supposed to do.
Yeah. And having Urgot, your bot lane and your top lane were able to pick up pretty big leads in both games. And so for you playing that utility style of a
Yeah.
mage, I think must have been a huge help to them. And I'm
Oh
sure
yeah,
that
definitely.
was kind of the playing going in. Scatter, Autumn, any questions from you guys?
Yeah, I just want to know what kind of preparation you guys had going into both games, and what kind of decisions you made behind the scenes between game 1 and game 2. Just general thoughts about that kind of thing. Just give me a general idea of like what all went into all that.
Okay, so let's start with game one. Basically, we was like, okay, so throughout the season, our best way we was winning was with team fight comps. So we didn't draft directly towards it, like earlier stated. But we just picked champions that we were comfortable with, even though they didn't fit the comp. So it didn't go as smoothly as we wanted it to. And with game two, in between that break, we was like, okay, let's pick almost the same comp type, but let's play champions that's more and able to do what it's able to play.
Mhm.
Sure. Yeah. No, I get that. And then my only other question is, what was up with TF support in game 1?
Man.
Please, just tell me why.
All right. Okay, so I'm gonna be real. I thought he was trolling when he said that. He was like TF. So I was just like, wait, you're being serious? He was like, yeah. I was like, okay, because it's something I thought about trying. Because he has that point and click stun. But basically, we just picked a safe AD carry and enabled him with taking the TP and his ultimate to be around the map and to make plays or to stop plays that the other team was trying to force. So it was more of a utility, take care of the team all at the same time pick, and keeping the AD carry safe and Sivir. You just get to a certain point of the game where you just win fights.
Yeah. The TF effectiveness in team fights is still kind of
Yeah.
jury's still out on that one. But as far as actually walking around the map and taking care of business, doing the TF
Yeah.
thing, you can
Yeah.
see that he didn't really need to matter in team fights as long as he got to a spot where he could do so much damage in the AD carry and in mid as well. So
Yeah.
you could definitely see the idea behind it. Whether or not you could have
Mhm.
picked a better champion for that role, who
Yeah.
knows? You know,
Yeah. Tomato.
it worked, so you can't really argue
Can't
against
say.
that.
Yeah.
Any other questions
Yeah.
from you guys, or
No real questions other than I guess really good. I mean, a chance to either talk some smack here or just do what you want here. What's your prediction for the whom you're going to be facing?
yeah, who do you guys
in
gonna
the
see?
Oh
finals?
God!
All
Not while
right.
I'm in here. No, not while. Don't do
All
this
right.
to me.
Hold up. Hold up. I forgot. Hold on. Let me check the other teams that were playing. I forgot off the top of my head. Let me check.
You're
Okay.
gonna face Bronze 5 Age or Defiant in the final. It's one of those two.
Okay. I believe when we played, I think it was Braun 5. I'm not sure, but we got 0-2 by a team earlier, but that was like when I was playing AD carry, which wasn't the best role. So I think I'm gonna give the edge to dang. Okay, let me hold up. I'm gonna give it to Defiant. I'm gonna give it to
Yeah,
Defiant.
nice.
Yeah, their mid laner is Minor Threat, I believe. Yeah, Minor Threat. He's a good laner. I'm gonna give him that. I got slapped by him. So I know, and I think they're just a better team overall, as in like macro plays and able to move around the map and to take objectives, not the cleanest, but they get it done. So it's not like, oh, we're Team Liquid, so we can just do a job and like nothing, no bad things happen. It's just like it's scrappy, but we get it done.
Yeah.
So that's all that matters, right?
Yeah. Awesome stuff. Well, thanks for joining us here in this interview, Vortex. You sound really excited about the games, and it was even more exciting for us to watch. So we will catch you
Yeah.
guys in the finals, likely next week or the week after for the extension of playoffs due to holiday. But thanks for joining us, Vortex, and congrats on the 2-0 win.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Hey, take care. Alrighty, guys. Well, I'm going to drop the stream off right here where we stand. But thanks, Autumn and Scatter, for joining me here on the cast. Thanks for the viewers for checking out some DEMACIAN playoff action. And we still have a lot of playoffs left to go. So we'll try to bring you as much as possible here on stream. And tune in for that Bronze 5 Age Defiant final next Tuesday so we can round out the finals for Demacia. But that's going to do it for now, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And congrats to Insignia for the 2-0 win. Demacia. Thanks, guys. Take care.